All right, welcome back to Girls Frontline 2. Let's continue the story read through. Brain self-diagnosis complete. System self-diagnosis complete. Attempting to connect to local area network failed. Accessing neural cloud backup failed. Selecting new neural log destination directory. Neural cloud will be backed up to a local destination. Confirm. SSD 62D. Kihua. This interview session regarding your involvement in multiple supply theft incidents will be conducted under the supervision of the inspector and three on-duty representatives. Please be aware that your statements are admissible in a court of law. Do you fully understand the preceding statement as it has been presented to you? Yes. Yes, you already told me last time. An image is projected on the wall, and Kinghua looks at it. A pair of tactical dolls flank a human in body armor as they slowly retreat from an encirclement of security troopers. The situation looks precarious. Kingwa's attention is drawn to the silver-haired doll, who seems to be at a loss for what to do next. Then she quickly glances at the other doll and then human that they're both protecting. She stares at them for a long while until her attention is drawn away by the head interrogator. Do you know the people in this image? I can't be sure. Did they come to link up with you? I can't be sure. No, wait. Even if I did know, then they'd only be here to pick me up. What's this nonsense about linking up with me? Your statement indicates that these people are similar to the ones that you know. Is that true? Do you know who they are? I maintain my right to silence. You guys have that here, right? Do you or do you not know their plan and route of withdrawal? Nope. Have you told them where the stolen goods are placed? That's a leading question. I don't know anything about stolen goods or whatever. Let's move back to you. Do you have any collaborators? Collaborators? Say what? Obviously she isn't going to get an answer. After a brief silence, a voice interrupts the questioning. Inspector, I have something to say. It's important. It's urgent. The speaker is so excited that his voice cracks a little, but King Hua can just barely make out the voice's owner. King Hua's eyes light up. Yura, are you over there? I think I heard your voice. Sit down, Yura. It is not your place to speak. I have evidence. My people just found new evidence. The loudspeaker cuts out the beat, leaving only the sound of electrical humming and cracking to echo inside the room. Yura. Hello? I can hear you guys. Hello? Hello? Hey, are you listening to me? Silence engulfs the room. Kiwa looks at the one-way mirror, and she has a vague idea about what might be happening on the other side, but it's beyond her reach. Comms check. Shikikan, this is Groza and Sabrina. Wait, give me a second. I read you. The beam from the headlamp barely manages to illuminate the ground at my feet, but it also makes the phantomless darkness all the more sinister. Groza can hear the echoes of her voice and her footsteps. We just cut through 2 layers of grate, and we made it into the tunnel. There seems to be more than one path through here. I can feel the movement of the air. I think there's another opening here. Wait, let me fix something. There's something bothering me. What's happening? Why is it not loading? Windows 11 is such a cursed OS, man. They made it in the most bloated manner. Even opening something as simple as just trying to control the volume of something fucks it up so much. What the fuck is wrong with them, man? What were they thinking? They no longer optimize the shit, you know. Okay, let's go. We haven't encountered any enemies so far. We continue toward the center of the settlement, but it seems a little too quiet. What are the conditions inside the tunnel? We're seeing signs of line scale and traces of sedimentation. Perry's quest was right. This was probably part of the drainage system, just abandoned for a long time. The insides are pretty flat, and atmospheric sensors aren't picking up anything unusual. Looks like things are getting more smoothly than expected. Don't get careless, stay alert, and carry on. Understood. Transmission ends. Groza, what did you mean when you said it seems a little too quiet? Isn't that a good thing? Doubt starts creeping into Sabrina's voice. Why would they overlook a tunnel this size? It's not like it's a smaller drain. The people on the surface are well equipped, but they didn't fortify or harden an obvious opening like this. I find it hard to believe that this was just an oversight by the settlement's leadership. Since when was our luck ever this good? I like how Groza thinks. Yeah, you're right, but what could it mean? Maybe there's some reason that they don't need to defend this place, or perhaps setting up defenses were too costly. Huh. Wait, does that mean this place is dangerous? I'm starting to get goosebumps. Rosa suddenly comes to a halt. What happened? Did you hear something? I might be imagining things. No, you should come and listen to it too. Sabrina stops and tilts her head attentively. Give me a second. I hate scam calls, man. Nope. Don't hear a thing. Sabrina pulls a small device out of her frame's internal storage. I made this audio amplifier myself. Maybe I'll hear something when I hook it up. The gentle breeze blows through and carries with it a quiet sound like some kind of ephemeral wailing. I think I heard something. It sounds like human speech. Groza, this is the physical world, right? Ghosts and such, they don't exist, right? Huh? Human speech? What are they saying? Shh. I'll try to listen in. Me? Help me? Well, it's definitely human speech. It's coming closer to us. A quiet cry for help. The sound of something heavy dragging across the ground. Footsteps gradually resolving into clarity. Cut your lights and hug the wall now. What? What's happening all of a sudden? Too late. Before she can finish, a swift gust of wind brushes past Sabrina's legs. Yeah! What are all these aliens doing here? Prepare for battle. This is a big tunnel. Easy. Rosa takes down the last of the aliens. Finally, was that the last one? Can I turn my lights on now? I'm turning mine on now. The person calling for help, she's still alive. Miss, you're all right now. Are you hurt? The woman in question is collapsed on the ground. Her eyes drift around unfocusedly, and then she suddenly erupts into an ear-piercing shriek. Yay! We beat up all the bad guys. It's okay. It's okay. Stay back! Miss, you're hurt. Do you need help? Where's Oz? We're not aliens. Sabrina tries to smile in a disarming way, as much as possible. Groza tugs on Sabrina's sleeve and shakes her head imperceptibly. Don't ask me. I don't know. Her wailing trails off into silence. Miss. Oh no, she's passed out. Is it from blood loss? What should we do now? I'll try to stop the bleeding. Sabrina pulls the first aid kit out of her frame's internal storage. Where is that storage? Anyway. Groza quickly triages the woman's injuries. Then she glances toward the direction the aliens and the woman have come from. The signs of dragging marks are immediately obvious. Most of the blood loss is from gunshot wounds. Her aberrations aren't too severe. She was only dragged for a short distance. We could follow them back to their source. Perhaps their origin is also our destination. Are we bringing her with us while we do that? Moving while carrying a casualty is kind of difficult. Sabrina, you stay here and care for her. Back me up when needed. I'll head out for a bit before coming back. I'll be gone for 10. Yeah, 20 minutes. It won't be far, and the risk should be manageable. But that's so dangerous if you run into aliens again. Sabrina meets Groza's gaze and swallows the word she's about to say. Okay, I got it. Still, don't push yourself too hard and come back soon. 20 minutes later, I receive a comms request from Groza while I sit on the jeep. Groza, how's it looking? Shiki-kan, we found an entrance to the settlement. However, something unexpected happened. Groza briefly describes what happened. Got it. So the wounded lady is out of danger for a moment, but she can't be moved easily either. Is that it? Yes, Shiki-kan. Should we bring her back to the Elmo? We can't be sure if she's an ally or an enemy, and we don't know about King Hua's condition. Rosa, Sabrina, wait there for a bit. I'll meet up with you, and then we'll enter the settlement together. As for the wounded woman, I'll have Colfine and Vepley look after her. We'll decide our next move once she regains consciousness. Understood. Remember this happened at one point. Now Bepley and Bepley and Sharky are now chill. Our first day of searching for Killua in the trade fair ends in failure. We discuss our next move after meeting up. Should we investigate another location? While few places are populated as the trade fair, we might be able to learn something new. Or maybe we should walk around the fair again. We've only gone around the place once, so we might have missed something. Sabrina looks over the trade fair again. There are eye-catching mascots everywhere, and while the decorations aren't too fancy, they're enough to dazzle the eyes. The vendors and the customers just keep pouring in, making the environment more and more complex with each passing moment. Let me think. Shikan, there's a heavy... Groza's warning is drowned out by the roar of the engines. All I see is her mouth moving and the crowd beginning to move. The vendors don't look nervous. Why is that? Groza freezes up for a moment, then begins surveying her surroundings without saying a word. The nearby merchants don't look afraid. In fact, they're smiling. Indeed, this kind of noise is usually precedes a bandit raid. In other settlements, merchants would have started packing up their stalls by now. It's the expedition team. The expedition team had returned. I heard the road running in front of the warehouse was under repair recently, so the expedition team is detouring through here. The 33rd expedition team, I guess? Anyway, friend, when you say expedition, what exactly are you talking about? Oh, are you customers from the outside? You'll see a bunch of heavily armed guys passing through here in a bit. They're the expedition forces of our Dark Steel farm. Don't worry, dear customer. They're not here for involuntary asset transfers. We don't operate like people on the outside. Look, their convoy's actually passing through. It's their lucky day. You'll get to see our expedition team leader in the flesh. That doesn't often happen. Their expeditions usually go on for a really long time. In the past, Leader Garen would bring his boys back in just a few days, but recently they've been gone for up to 2 weeks at a time. Yeah, good thing they made it back in a timely manner. I bet they got lots of good stuff with them. This is a good sign. The roar of the engines gradually dies down, and everyone turns to look in the same direction. The convoy of jeeps and heavy bikes slowly cruises by. The convoy is... Wait, let me move my window. I didn't see... I can read one part of the text because of my fucking things on the table. The convoy is led by a big motorcycle. Its rider is a massive man in the full combat gear who's casually steering his ride with one hand while waving with the other. His response seems to excite the surrounding vendors, who begin to shout and cheer. You might not know this, but the reason why we set we can set up here without without having to worry about anything is because expedition leader Garen and his boys go out and collect supplies for us. In fact, it's thanks to leader Garen's valiant efforts that this festive trade fair is even possible in the first place. It's for every man for himself on the outside, right? In here, everyone's a job and we do it. The expedition team finds stuff and we sell it. Yeah, life's easy for us because everyone does their part. Still, the hardest working people on the farm are Inspector Leo and Expedition Leader Garen. Yeah, it's got to be Inspector Leo and Expedition Leader Garen. No doubt about it. It's the Inspector and the Expedition Leader. They just kept repeating that line, bro. Why aren't you inquiring further, dear customer? Aren't you at least a bit curious about these big shots of ours? How can we keep praising them if you don't ask us about them? Go on. The vendors seem to be in such high spirits that it actually comes off as a little oppressive to the dolls. Okay. So why does everyone like them so much anyway? It's nothing special really. It's just because they built Dark Steel Farm with their own hands, brought everyone together and distributed the work among all of us. That's all. That's right. They built our checkpoint, laid down the settlement guidelines, made sure they came back from all their expeditions with something to show for them, and then enrich all our lives with a fair and well-planned system of distributing resources. Simple as that. The vendors are all smiles as they look expectantly at the dolls. Why are you looking at me? Are you waiting for me to say something? Let me see. I see. Your inspector and expedition team leaders sound like great people. Bringing Sabrina along was the right decision. Would Groza say something else? Or maybe before Groza, it's like, at least I don't have to answer that, bro. The vendor seems satisfied with that. Just then, there is movement from the other side of the trade fair. A man escorted by uniformed guards head toward the expedition convoy. The vendor's attention are drawn to the newcomer. Oh, hey, the inspector is going to welcome the expedition back. You sure are lucky, dear customers. You get to see both of our prominent figures at once. That's pretty good, right? Since our big shots get along, the rest of us can live in peace. I heard that in the past, they were both bounty hunters who befriended each other. Their friendship's older than the settlement. Both contingents made contact, and from where I'm standing, I can see the expedition leader take off his mask and laugh heartily. The inspector and expedition leader clap each other's shoulders, and their mouths move, but their words are drowned out by the surrounding noise. Groza, can you get closer and try and eavesdrop on what they're saying? Groza nods and blends into the excited crowd. Shortly afterwards, the group heads away from the trade fair together, and Groza returns to my side. They were just exchanging greetings. The inspector seemed to be asking about their casualty status, and the expedition leader replied, "We're old hands at this, so we don't lose anyone. It was a milk run. You, on the other hand, you better speak up if you're having any difficulties. We both know how things have been for the past 2 years." Doesn't sound like anything special. Is all the stuff we're learning going to help us find quinoa? It doesn't seem relevant right now. Perhaps we need to change our approach. Let me think. Right, back to work. Seeing the inspector and expedition leader make me feel like I need to do my part too. The festive trade fair is our battleground. That's right, we need to lock in too. I'll keep an eye on my stall. The neon isn't going to take a single gram away from me. Even if Boojum comes, it won't get anything from me either. I'd rather those Boojums stay away forever. Well, even if one does turn up, I'm sure the expedition leader Garen can deal with it, right? I heard he beat 100 A-lists to death when he was outside with his bare hands. What? Can humans even do that? Why not? That's what all those pulp novels from circulating in the farm says. Granted, I haven't actually seen him do it in person, but it's got to be grounded in reality. There's got to be some basis to it, right? Still, I haven't heard about anyone being robbed by the Neon recently. My nephew's in the guards, and they say they caught a suspect for being the Neon. Maybe they won't be any more robberies from now on. You can catch something like that? My uncle's in the expedition team. He says it's an immoral monster that comes and goes without a trace. It only goes to sleep in spring. I had no idea what they're talking about since just now. What's the Neon? Is that some kind of new alien? I'm not too sure, but apparently one's been captured. And King Claus went missing around the same time. It's worth looking into. The Neon. Sounds kind of familiar. Now, you mentioned it before. Was it Mailing? I think Mailing told me a story about it in the past. A light snow had been falling outside back then, and the seasons seemed to match up. Why not just ask them directly? These vendors seem like nice people. Surely they'll tell us all about it, right? Sabrina decides to ask them about the Neon. The Neon. Well, you don't need to worry about it, dear customer. Looks like it was actually a thief mucking about. I never heard of it going after outsiders before. That expedition team uncle of mine said that it comes out to cause trouble when winter gives way to spring, and it goes back to sleep when spring comes. Hang in there, it won't be long. The festive trade fair is coming, and so is spring. Like they say in the farm, stronger and stronger each spring. This Neon sounds like a marvelous beast. Is your uncle an expert on such things? Nah, all this stuff about the Neon was collected by his pals in the expedition team from data chests they found outside. It's just that recently we've been losing stuff here and there, and it fits the description of that Neon monster causing the trouble. Utter nonsense! What's all this rubbish about monsters? If you ask me, it's the fault of those trash collectors. My nephew and the guards have been doing extra shifts because of them for a long time now. They changed patrols, and apparently they found weird tracks where those trash collectors live. Personally, I think it was done by some horrible Uma. Or something. I mean, we're in the contamination zone. Uma misspelled anyway. Or, of course, we could go back to rewrite and, Uma. Unidentified something. Anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if there were weird mutants running around. There's no getting through the cult priests like you. As if you're any better. Where's your proof, you conspiracy theorists? Thanks, guys. Well, take a lead then. The vendors begin arguing with each other and pay no heed to us. Sabrina breathes a sigh of relief as she backs away. She then signals the girls and me, indicating that we should follow her. However, in her relief, Sabrina has not realized that a squad of patrolling guards is approaching us. Sabrina, look! Rose's warning comes too late. As Sabrina backs up, she crashes into the guards behind her. I'm sorry. It's alright, dear guest. Actually, we were looking for you. Would you mind coming with us? Could it be that you seen the doll we're looking for? I'm sorry, but I don't quite get your meaning. However, I'm sure you don't want to cause a big disturbance here, am I right? Well, of course we don't want to make trouble, but I mean, while you're in uniform and look really convincing, blindly following strangers in the yellow zone is really dangerous. I'll need a more convincing reason to go with you. Groza looks at me, and after seeing me nod, she indicates that Sabrina doesn't need to stall them. After all, rather than they're using a lot of interesting words here, around trying our luck, I'd rather place my faith in this chance to turning our situation around. Who knows, we might end up finding a new clue. It's alright, Sabrina. Please lead the way, gentlemen. The guard squad leader nods and takes us to a place on the outskirts of the fair. There are empty stalls around us, the lights are off, the signs are reading preparing for the fair nearby. We apologize for interrupting their shopping, but we receive an anonymous report from a stall owner. Apparently you've been browsing the fair for several hours, but haven't purchased anything. Is that true? What? They're so, like, These guys haven't purchased anything. They're loiters. Therefore, we should catch them or some shit. Anyway, wait. I'll be right back. Uh, this is so weird. That's a weird reason to be. The guards coming up to you for reason. Okay, Mac, let's go. The guard's polite but suspicious gaze falls on our empty heads. We simply wish to understand the wares that are on offer at your trade fair in order to optimize our financial expenditures and acquire everything at once. Who the hell answers like, oh, it's Groza. But like, why do you answer like that? And since the festive fair hasn't officially opened yet, I believe we ought to have some time to consider our purchases. Are we not free to do that? I see. That is the most sensible explanation. However, according to the anonymous report, you, specifically, these two dolls, did not ask any questions about what our sales personnel were selling. We've only just arrived here, so being cautious about unfamiliar things is unavoidable. These questions were also meant to help us determine the length of our stay and reliability of your merchandise. Wait, let me deal with my phone because it's a scam caller. All right, I'm back. I fucking hate that my phone it has a similar number as a fucking pharmacy, so a lot of random ass people are trying to call. Anyway, I see. Perhaps this was just a misunderstanding. However, we are compelled to do our due diligence, and thus I must remind you that according to the farm resident regulations, any personal inquiries, eavesdropping, and other activities that are not sanctioned by the farm management are considered illegal. Repeat offenders will be banished from the farm and permanently barred from entry. Surely you must have heard that when passing through the security checkpoint. I urge you to keep that in mind and avoid doing this again. Being permanently barred from entry sounds pretty stiff. Well, that's a stroke of bad luck. I exchanged glances with Groza. I see. We will keep that in mind. Now then, please show us your entry permits. The interaction constitutes a first warning. I need to verify your entry permit serial number and ensure that said warning has been logged. Entry permit? Oh man, Sabrina, your poker face. You should have had a poker face at least. Fuck, man, you made it so obvious that you don't even know what the fuck that is. Sabrina slides up to me and nervously asks me a question. Shikikan, our entry permits, they won't work right. Okay, she knows, but she's talking about the stuff that Aminda gave them. I mean, even asking around is illegal. Then what are they going to think of illegal immigration like we just did? You think they'll dump us off the side of a cliff? I pass Arena's back to console her while I observe the surroundings. We're on the edges of the trade fair, and the cool wind is blowing wildly through the empty stalls. There are drifts of unclear gray-white snow piled up against the walls. Even if we make a ruckus, I doubt it'll draw much attention. I give Rosa a meaningful look. Certainly, my permit's right here. I make a show of reaching into my back pocket, and the guards focus their attention on me. Rosa is ready to strike. Here you go. The guard's squad leader reflexively reaches out to take my permit. I grab his hand and immediately put his arm in the lock. The other guards are taken completely by surprise. Groza, knock them out! Will do. Groza seizes the opportunity I've created, while I yank the guard leader away from his squad. Sabrina, back Groza up. Huh? Just like that? Sorry, Mr. Guard, but right now, I need to ensure our freedom of movement. Oh, hang on a bit. I want to top up my battery. So my mission is to provide support. Do your best, Groza. You already beaten half of the enemies. Sabrina, that's called supporting. Let's go. Everyone, we're drawing towards... Sabrina? chocolate.
Uh,
Um, I'm listening. We can break out in that direction, right? Make sure you protect the Shiki can. What's that in a withdrawal direction? Is that an ice sculpture? How interesting. A device. Doesn't look like one. Perhaps we should check it out if we get a chance. Excuse me. Oops.
次はシャークリーの時間だよ。イエーイ
You guys couldn't fight, right? Why are you guys not fighting? Ordinary guards are no match for tactical dolls. However, the day's guards soon regain their bearings. This is Squad 3! This is Squad 3! No, good, not good. Stop him. One of the guards are holding a communicator. Rosa runs toward him. A laser dot flickers across her back. I turn to the stray guard, who's apparently slipped the net and kicked his gun away. We're on the west side of the market. Send... Something whistles through the air, and a spatula smashes into the guard's communicator, sending it flying. Stop. It's all a misunderstanding. A large sound rings out from the distance. Everyone pauses for a moment, which is long enough for the girl who shouted to run up to us. Kiha? The newcomer picks up the spatula and smiles breezily at us. Indeed, this is Type 97S, Kiha, whom we haven't seen in a while. Yo, what's up, my old chromes? My old chromes? Fucking terms, man. Kiha, you're okay, but why didn't you tell us? You scared my parts off. Sabrina steps up and gives Kiha a warm hug. Kiha gently pats Sabrina on the back, then winks at me before gently extracting herself from Sabrina's arms and turning onto the guard. Sorry about that, bro. Here's our permit. This is my Shikigan. We were operating separately for a bit, but our signal was cut off. They panicked a little and forgot how things work. Kiwa produces her entry permit and hands it to the guard squad leader. Don't worry, we'll follow the rules from now on. Assaulting an officer is also a violation of the rules. Aw, come on, can't you just let it slide? If they're passed out, I'll just shake them awake. How about that? I mean, it's not like anyone died, right? What the fuck? Okay, whatever. See? No serious injuries or anything. That doesn't even count as an assault here in the yellow zone. Maybe an accident or something at most. You're going to wake people up? Let me help. After getting my approval, Sabrina and Rosa begin helping Ginhua with the cleanup to show our sincerity. What rubbish is this, you? Just then, the communicator that's lying on the ground nearby connects automatically, and a distress call from another guard squad comes through. Looks like your guard friends are busy. It's festival and all. I mean, this is a key period for the trade fair when there are most people around, so since we're all right here, we won't delay you guys any further. So, what say you close an eye to this and we'll live our lives on the straight and narrow from now on? Doesn't that work out for everyone? The stress call from the communicator keeps going. This guard squad leader glares hard at King Hua, then grits his teeth and picks up King Hua's entry permit. Let me check your logs. So, you were arrested and you were just released. Yeah, it's a misunderstanding. Look, it says not guilty right there, doesn't it? You had way too many people here recently, so it's no wonder why these hiccups keep happening. Like this time around, for example, our Shikigan's here to make big buys to your festive trade fair, and she's all about peaceful coexistence. Definitely not here to make trouble. The guard captain is silent for a very long time. Clearly, he doesn't want to deal with King Ha. Fine, then. This warning's been logged. Any future violations will result in a stiff penalty. The guards eyes us reproachably. I hope you all abide by the farm's rules from now on. Sure thing. Let me help wish the rest of the boys a happy festival. Sorry for the trouble. The guard squad leader is forced to smile politely in response to Kingwa's beaming grin, and then he goes to check on his downed men. Kingwa helps lift up the unconscious guards and hands them over to their comrades. Then she pats her chest with a chuckle. Ooh, patting her chest. Whew! We might not have gotten out of this so easily if the guards weren't already so overworked. At last, Kinghua looks me in the eye. Her smile hasn't changed much, but there's a strange emotion in her eye, one which doesn't translate well into words. It feels like she's getting emotional. It's been a while, she began. Her voice is softer than just now, with a hint of gentleness that's quite rare for her, if you know what I mean. Oh, and Sabrina and OTS 14, glad to meet you. She's Groza. Just call her Groza from now on. Hello, Kinghua. So our mission to find Kinghua was complete then. It went better than expected. Kinghua, I haven't seen you since you finished that job in the previous satellite city. How did you lose contact with us? When we get back, you'll have to tell me all about it. As Sabrina grabs Kinghua and begins to drag her away, Rosa looks at me. Shiken, will we be going back now, or are we staying here for a bit longer? Well, since Kinghwa's entry permit passed muster, I think we can make proper purchases. If we should shop, why not call the others over from the Elmo? This festival is almost upon us, and Mainly's been looking forward to the shopping celebration. Wait! Kinghua tugs on Sabrina's arm, indicating that she should stop. Shiken, please allow me to stay here for a few more days. I have some unfinished business I need to take care of. Unfinished business? I can't talk about it here. Please, follow me, everyone. Kinghwa's face grows serious as she looks at the nearby guards. Oh, huge ass story time. Okay. Man. Not gonna lie. That's just 20% of the whole thing, bro. The long winter night finally arrives in full. By the time we reach the highland, several gaunt workers are tying up strips of red cloth on their tents. Kinghua says they're decorating for the festive trade fair. She leads us to the edge of the settlement, which is bordered by barren land. The distorted forms of ruined buildings are visible in the distance. This is it. Let's go in. There are over a dozen tents around us, all lit up, which just barely serves to vanish the darkness. Some of them have ornaments made of red paper on them. The lights inside the tents make them cast twisted shadows on the ground. Kinghua brings us to one of these tents. Kinghua, are you out? I heard you were released this afternoon. I just knew you'd be here. Chiyura, I thought I heard your voice over the interrogation room loudspeaker. Did you get me out of there? They were asking me a bunch of questions I had no clue about, and they wouldn't let me leave either. I was bored out of my mind in there. I like how that's the only thing in her. That was the only thing she was thinking about. Well, my boys discovered some new evidence that proved your innocence, so I had them send it in. Fortunately, I'm the scavenger representative in the management, so I could request to sit in the questioning. Then that new evidence arrived just in time, so I submitted it. Thank you, and thanks to your boys in the scavengers. Well, you're a guest who came to help us, so it only made sense that we should help you if you were wrong. I mean, the festive trade fair is almost here. We couldn't just let you spend it rotting in jail, right? Oh yes, these guests of yours are. This is my Shikigan. These are my friends, Sabrina and Groza. So, you're the Shikigan that King keeps talking about. Welcome to the scavenger camp. I'm sure you haven't spoken in a long time, so you must have a lot to talk about, right? Well, don't be shy. Feel free to take a load off and rest here. The scavengers always welcome new members to the family. Yura stands up and gives us the tent for ourselves. I'll go see whether our experiments in raising crops have bore fruit. Feel free to catch up with each other. Heh, looks like this tent is ours for the time being. Alright, have a seat and let me tell you the story so far. Quick, tell us. Aminda was worried about you too. Sorry for making you all worry. Anyway, just give me a few minutes to tell you a little of the historical background. Why does it sound like it's gonna be like a really long? Anyway, I used to work in a green zone farm. Back then, my boss was an old lady who was really nice to dolls and took really good care of me. She came from what we now call Darksteel Farm. But if I'm not wrong, Aminda's Intel states Darksteel Farm was only just recently founded. I'm talking about the former Darksteel Farm before the war. Back then, it was still called Sunset Farm. After this farm was abandoned, its people wandered all over the place, but the lady was still really attached to her former home. After I decided to go work in the Yellow Zone, she asked me to find the descendants of her former friends and neighbors and check on them in her place. Wow, I think I heard you mention her before. I didn't know she had a background like that. Yup. I heard that someone rebuilt the farm, and after learning that the descendants of the former farm residents were going back this year, I made plans to come by and pay it a visit. Then Amanda came back from the underground brokers gathering and told me she'd run into the Shikikan and that the agreement restrictions had been relaxed. So, as it turned out, going to the farm would end up bringing me back to the Elmo too. I was thinking of taking care of the old lady's request, then meeting up with the Shikikan after everything was settled, but I didn't expect that I would end up causing trouble for everyone. Kinghua puts her hands together apologetically and smiles sheepishly. No problem, keep going. So, why did the people here lock you up anyway? Well, there had been a spate of theft cases shortly after my arrival, with the stolen items being rare spices. The guards just so happened to find unknown drag marks in the barren land out back. The only people there were me and the scavengers. The guards weren't able to find anything on the scavengers, but they just happened to find the exact same spices that were missing on me. Like, are we not allowed to cook stuff that actually tastes good? Couldn't they have imagined that I might have brought it along myself? Kinghua slaps her thigh in annoyance. Then she glances at me and mutters under her breath. I went out of my way to gather all those spices. Since we were meeting again after so long, I wanted to show you what I've learned during our time apart and give you a taste of my skills. But now the surprise is all ruined. Well, we got a long time ahead of us. There's no need to rush it. So they arrested you because you happen to have the same kind of spices on you, without any concrete proof that you had stolen it. It feels like the management's handling of this case was very sloppy. Well, that wasn't the only reason why. It was only after I came here that I learned that Sunset Farm descendants were now called scavengers. Their living conditions here were pretty bad, and the other residents treated them like crap. I was living with the scavengers until a few days ago, which made me one of them in the eyes of Darksteel Farm. When they interrogated me, the guy doing it kept trying to make me say I stole stuff for them. So you're saying the management suspected the scavengers of using you to steal supplies, and they tried to use you to make their case? Yep, Yura told me that the scavengers weren't doing too well on the farm. For starters, a lot of people ended up turning to thievery because they couldn't earn enough contribution points to survive, but the guards already dealt with them. Based on what I've seen so far, the descendants of Sunset Farm who are still here in the Highlands don't seem like criminals to me. It's hard to sway public opinion with a subjective opinion now that their biases have been developed. So I was thinking I took a look at this situation. While a lot of stuff has been stolen, the scavengers wouldn't be starving like this if they actually managed to get their hands on it. Also, the fact that I was released at all was because of Yura's evidence convincing them. When it came out, however, I heard the guards talking about how the evidence cleared me, but at the expense of making the scavengers look even more suspicious. Yura never mentioned anything like that. Kinoa scratches her head and then shoots me a pleading, desperate look. Shiki-kan, I want to help clear the scavenger's name. That would help let me help them and fulfill the request from my previous employer. Can you give me a few more days? The interior of the tent dimly lit by a little red lantern in the corner of the room. Compared to the affluence of the trade fair, the people here, hemmed in by circumstance, still tend to be positive. I look at King Hua's eyes, which shine with determination, and I find it very hard to say no to her. Let me guess. Even if I said no, you wouldn't let things be even if you came back to the Elmo, right? Yup. You know me best, Shiki-kan. Then let's take care of this together and head back into the town together. Town again. What? You said yes? Awesome. Kinghua jumps for joy, but just as she's about to glomp me, I push her back into her seat. So, do you have any ideas on how to clear the scavengers' names? What can we do to help? Kinghwa's attention returns to the task at hand. Well, I didn't get to ask Yura about the new evidence he found. Maybe I could go grab him and have him explain it to us. After seeing me nod in agreement, Kinghua heads out and returns shortly afterwards with Yura in tow. Shikan, I heard Kinghua said that you were willing to help us. You arrived just in time. I'd like to thank you all for on behalf of us scavengers. Well, that's enough meet and greet for now, Yura. Tell us about this new evidence you found. It's like this. We scavengers have been trying to plant new crops in the wasteland, and we take pictures of our plots at regular intervals as part of our experimental records. Yura indicates a set of pictures to me. These pictures capture the drag marks, or what the guards consider evidence of transportation of stolen goods. Which, while the guards only found those marks a couple of days ago, I'd like you to take a look at this picture. It was only when we checked the data of today's picture that we realized that marks like this had already shown up since last month, and Hinghua hasn't arrived yet. I see, and that meant I wasn't likely to be the suspect. Thanks again for submitting this evidence. Haha, well, the inspector here is a pretty reasonable guy. He was the one who ultimately decided to release you. After looking at the pictures, I wouldn't dare claim all the credit for that. Still, that wouldn't prove the savage's innocence, right? Yura's forced smile fades. Well, I'm trying to do that. Truth is, a few of my boys might end up being taken in for questioning over the next few days. Shikan, Kingwa always said you were a very capable and knowledgeable person. Do you have any advice for us? To be frank, I don't fully understand the situation. Perhaps we might learn something if we have surveillance footage of the scene of the crime. Yura shifts uncomfortably. Well, for various reasons, everyone is wary of us scavengers. I know exactly where the security kiosks with this footage you need are located, but it's hard for us to go near those places. We'd probably end up reported before we even get there and end up sprawling an entire tail of guards. If you know where to find it, just leave it to me. Yup. Rosa, Sabrina, you should go with her. We can plan our next move after obtaining the footage. Let me do this. Just change the... The night wears on. I wait in the tent for word from them. My communicator chirps and banishes my growing sleepiness. Shikika. Bepley's magnified face appears on the screen, like she's trying to smoosh it into the camera. Bepley, maybe you should back up a bit. Shiki-can, why do you look so gloomy? Do you miss Bepley? Bepley's ready to give you an extra special performance. I'm losing it. I heard people say that idols need to check their image before doing a show. Have you probably inspected your outfit, Bepley? If the Shikigan saw Bepley in a messy state, that might damage your idol image. I'm obviously trying to force myself through here, Red. Huh? That's right. I can't let the Shikigan see Bepley when she's a mess. Bepley squeals and hops onto the side. Shikigan, did you miss me? Oh wow, is this the second canonical wife? It's over for Groza or some shit. Colfine is smiling, but it seems a little forced. Did anything new happen in your end, Colfine? Yes. The wounded lady's stable now. She's asleep at the moment, but she'll probably wake up soon. We can perform more in-depth diagnosis or treatment in our current location, so I'd like to move her to a more suitable medical environment. Do we have access to anywhere that fits the bill, Shikigan? I see. I found a suitable location for the time being on my end. I'll send you the coordinates, so bring Miss Casualty over. Be careful in the way here, and keep a low profile. Keeping a low profile with Bepley around is a big ass. Still, it's no problem for me. See you later, Shikigan. We kind of miss Bepley and Colfine, I guess. Jesus, man. The transmission ends, and the clock display in the corner of the screen silently increments. It's about time King-Hwa and the others checked in. Hey. All clear. Move in. Groza and Sabrina jump up to where King-Hwa is and crouch behind a pile of junk. The cold light of the street lamps dyes the walls of the security kiosk a stark white. The boots of the patrolling guards trump over the half-melted snow and leave a muddy path behind on the ground. Our target is right below us. According to Chief Yura, the kiosk ought to have the surveillance footage of the fair and settlement districts with the most theft cases. Should we contact the Shikigan? Doing it now. Groza, how are things going? Shikigan, the target is in sight. Once the patrol passes by, we'll have 15 minutes to approach the target. Excuse me. Right. I'll stay in touch on my end. There's a security camera there. Can you take care of it, Sabrina? Leave it to me. I've got a camera disruptor. Disabling it for 15 minutes is no problem. The ground's slippery, so mind your feet. Huh? Terrain like this, like that, is kind of bad for high infra frames, right? Inertia frames. It'll be fine with me around. Wow, you're so awesome, King-Hwa. Quiet. Prepare to move out. Okay. The final guard in the patrol follows the route and heads to the distance. Behind him, the dolls silently land on the ground and approach the kiosk. I can't open it. This lock is pretty solid. Let me try. Sabrina produces a small item, and the lock cylinder clicks. She has a lot of random-ass gadgets, huh? It's open. Wow. Whoa, that's awesome. What is that? It's just a miniature electromagnetic pulsar. Focus, ladies. King-Hwa resists the urge to chat. She nods vigorously, then begins searching the kiosk. Huh? Oh no, no, oh no, so the cameras weren't activated. No. Wait. They weren't even wired up in the first place because they were just dummies. So, they were decoys. Dummies. So they're just there for psychological effect. Were they trying to cut costs? The settlement doesn't seem hard pressed for money though. That does seem rather suspicious. Are the cameras we were looking for there? Speak of the devil, I just found out. Turns out the one we're looking for isn't a dummy. The camera's logs are here, but we need really high access levels to copy the data. Rosa, how much longer do we have? 8 minutes. Looks like we don't have time to hack ourselves better access. I was thinking of using our neural clouds directly to transcribe the data, which would also make it easier to filter through the scenes. Shigegan, does that work for you? It does. Proceed. The video data begins playing at high speed. What is this? I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary. You're sure the footage hasn't been doctored? Wait. I think it has. Look at this. It's almost imperceptible. But those are editing artifacts. Those videos are not the original footage. Can you restore the originals? It's theoretically possible, but we'll need to access the servers in level 2 to crack their defenses. We only have 4 minutes to do it though. 4 minutes. No, wait. We're down to 3. Chikan, I think I can do it. You have 2 minutes and a half. You have 2.5 minutes. If it doesn't work out, forget it, and focus on getting out of there. Will do. This will last shorter than a minute. As simple as that. We're almost out of time. Counting down 5, 4, 3, 2. We did it. We managed to restore the original data. I see the guards approaching. What are you standing around for? Move it already. The doll's beginning to leave. Nobody says anything else. In just a few minutes, the only sounds audible on the communicator are the sounds of the wind blowing, which eventually fades. Shigegan, do you read me? I read you. Go ahead. We found a hiding place, and we're safe for the time being. I'm uploading the video data now. We'll return while avoiding the guards. Roger. While waiting for the dolls to return, Yura and I go through the original footage. Yura looks thoughtful, but doesn't say anything. Yura, did you learn anything from these videos? No. But there's one thing I'm curious about. Could a normal person actually mess around with this footage? I have a hunch, but it can't be true, right? There's no way. Yura begins muttering to herself. Hang on. I think I just saw something. I'm sorry, but could you rewind that? I bring out the scene Yura wants to see. Shigekan, take a look at this. Yura points at the part of the screen. Is there something moving there? I enhance the portion of the image in question. Snow is falling, and a line of mini robots are transporting supply crates at an even clip across the snowy ground. That much is obvious. Several hours later, the trail on the ground is slowly covered up by grayish-white snow. I click this loop and begin replaying it. These are mass-produced robots. So they were mass-produced models. No wonder they are so familiar. Many of us scavengers have seen them before. But this one. Yura points to one of the mini robots. One of its arms is clearly unusual compared to its fellows. Here. I remember hacking out one of these robots with an axe, and in this exact place too. Wait, seriously? What are the odds? So, you encountered it before? In the ruins. Darksteel Farm was built on the ruins of a former farm. Many people live in the rebuilt areas, but the outskirts have a lot of areas that haven't been properly reclaimed yet. From time to time, many robots like this emerge from the depths of the ruins, and that was where I encountered it last. So you go in and out of the ruins regularly, Yura? Yura scratches his head. Well, it's actually like this. After we scavengers came back here, we were assigned to clear out any hidden dangers and rebuild the ruins. After all, these ruins could have been built by our ancestors and nobody would know the farm better than us. Unfortunately, Yura shrugs and falls silent. Many robots from the depths of the ruins. So, assuming these robots' ultimate destination was the depth of the ruins, that would mean they had to pass through the wasteland around here, right? Yes. Ah, I see. So that's why they found the group of our guild outside our test plots. Now, this is just a guess, so in order to verify it, we'll have to find them in the ruins, as well as the stolen items. I point to the crates they're carrying. I'll lead the way. Although our attempts to rebuild didn't turn out too well, we managed to map out a couple of routes that'll take us deep into the ruins with minimal risk. That ought to help. In that case, we'll head out once Kinghua and the others come back. Alright, look, I'll go get ready. The sun should be up by then. Yura looks outside the tent, and my gaze follows his. The ruins sprawl before us, like a beast awaiting its prey.
みんなありがとう。完璧なショーができたよ。シャークリンの次のパフォーマンスにも期待してね。
After Kinghua and the company return to the scavenger camp, Yura takes us into the ruins. A long time ago, this place was called Sunset Farm, and it was my home. I've been wanting to come back ever since I was a kid, but when I did, I found that it was completely different from what I imagined. Naturally, I knew this place had been rebuilt after being reduced to ruins, but I didn't expect a ruin to be so thorough. Yura pulls on his gloves and pulls the tangle of twisted rebar aside, clearing a narrow path for the rest of the group. When I was young, Grandpa used to tell us stories about how fertile and prosperous our home was, how the scent of the fruits filled the air all year round, and painted pictures of lush wheat fields stretching out to the horizon. I always thought this place would be like a fairy tale kingdom. Of course, after I grew up, I knew that there wouldn't be a place like that in the Yellow Zone, and that Grandpa's stories were embellished for effect. Still, thinking about scenes like that was strangely calming. Ah, if only it were real. Unfortunately, the only thing that's real here is the ugly rebar that's everywhere. Kinghua and Groza help him clear the rest of the obstacles from their way. It sounds like a paradise, so why did you leave? Also, how did you guys come back? Cheat Yura. Why we left? I don't know. Grants might have mentioned it, but in truth, everyone who left had their own reasons for it. Maybe it was because of the war, a sandstorm, or poor harvest one year, because they wanted to live elsewhere, or maybe they couldn't hold on to the farm. It's hard to isolate a single reason for it. In any case, by the time I was born, my elders and I were thousands of kilometers from the farm. You went that far? But given the state of the Yellow Zone now, returning must have been difficult too. Oh yes, we walked a long way. Just surviving until now was a miracle, and I led my people here. Europe puffs his chest as he mentioned that last part. After all, restoring the former glory of my hometown had been my childhood dream of mine. After I heard that people were going to rebuild the farm, I began making my way here. I met others from this place along the way, and they decided to follow me on my journey. We've been traveling for a long time. We only just managed to reach here last year, and by that time the farm had its management committee set up. The inspector was also very reasonable. It's not often you find an orderly place in the Yellow Zone. Yours reminiscence suddenly cuts off. What after that? What happened after that? Shiura, it's not polite to start telling the story halfway. Jesus Christ, go chill out. And then Yura laughs, but there is gloominess in his eyes. Well, things haven't been good for everyone recently, and there's a limit to how many people in the local resources can support. We came late, and the guards, expeditions, and merchants were all filled to capacity. Back then, there was a lot of debate on whether or not to take us in, but the inspector silenced all debate and allowed us to stay. For free? Out of kindness of his heart? I guess the original plan was mutual benefit, I think. I became the representative of the descendants of Sunset Farm to negotiate a deal with the inspector. After all, we all came from this place and we had a lot of exclusive information about the ruins here. We had an advantage over others when it came to rebuilding the ruins or raising crops. Oh, and if you could develop the ruins and grow food, you earn a ton of contribution points, right? Yes. If we could do that, I use those talking points to argue that they should take us in on account of us being able to provide the settlement with extra resources, and the inspector accepted. Unfortunately, it turns out farming and rebuilding the ruins was harder than expected. Saying so, Yura reaches out to dust off some twigs that fell on me. Be careful. This plant grows everywhere around here, and nobody knows what the hell it is. Its branches are mildly toxic, and while small amounts aren't a problem, letting it build up over several hours is. A few of our guys end up puking, shitting their guts out at the same time. Not a fun experience. Kinoa freezes up, then picks up one of the twigs and begins observing it. Get rid of it. Kinoa, dolls might not get poisoned, but your Shigan's a different story. Yura snatches the twig away and throws it into the distance. Huh? Toxins, unknown machines, ailed, expired gunpowder. The ruins have everything. We can't go further in without the right tools for it. Our attempts at raising crops failed too. The soil composition now is different from our ancestors' time, and our experience from the past can be applied to the current situation. Looks like surviving is hard for everyone. So, the scavengers are in dire straits then. Bang on the money. We're bringing in fewer and fewer contribution points, to the point where we're having trouble just obtaining enough supplies to survive. We're stuck in collecting the damaged goods for emergency use that the management issues. So, some of our boys even got desperate and tried doing some messed up things, which got them kicked out by management. I tried to persuade them to hang in there a little longer, but Yura shakes his head. So they decided to turn to banditry. Stories like that are a dime a dozen in the Yellow Zone. Yeah, you were wrongly blamed for stuff going missing because of us. Sorry about that, Kinhwa. I'm sorry to burden you guys with this, but I just had to let it out. Yura scratches his head. Well, Kinhwa has been released at least. She's not the type to hold grudges, so don't worry about it too much. Yep. It's not like I lost my parts while doing it. It's no biggie. Yura looks at the ground and sighs again. When he looks up, it's as though the weight had been taken off him. Sorry to interrupt you, but there are unknown robots approaching. It seems like we triggered some kind of defense program. So it's time to fight. Come on then, I've been waiting for this. Ready for battle? The enemy is almost in range. Yep. We can confirm their models at this range, right? If they're really high-end kind... I'm getting nervous. What are you worried about? You got me around, don't you? I've got it. No matter what kind of big lug comes, I'll dunk it in the deep fryer until it's golden brown. Warning. Enemy approaching. Oh, let me take a look. Ha! Piece of cake. Don't get careless. Prepare for battle. Alright, got it. Rosa inspects a broken SF mini robot. Oh, we haven't seen those in ages. Shikan, I think we can follow the navigation data back to their base. How long will that take? Their security programs are fairly primitive, so it wouldn't take long. Just then, Colfine sends a comm request and I accept it. Beverly, Beverly. She can. Were you thinking of Beverly? Beverly's carefully checked her image and the comfort concert's all ready to go. Hmm? Beverly, did we just get here? It would be bad to perform a live show without properly setting up the stage now. Oh yeah. Now, where should I put all this equipment? Beverly will do it now. Beverly hops and skips and jumps out of the frame. She again, I have good news and bad news. From the joyless cast of her mouth, I suddenly realized that all is not well. Go on. Very well. So that her lady just woke up. Well, that's good to hear. You don't seem too happy about it though. That's the bad news. She seemed to have lost her memory. Kofi points to the camera at the woman who's lying down. Miss, what should we call you? Who am I? Who are you? Do you remember how you got here? What do you plan to do next? Do you need our help? I'm sorry, my head hurts. I don't remember anything. She looks lost and confused. Colfine looks back and sighs. As you can see, Shikikan, that's how she is. What should I do about her now? A scavenger pokes her head in from the edge of the frame. Wow, we can see Chiyura through this. Hey, Chiyura and the other sheep, how are you doing? We heard it all just now. Looks like that lady is going to have to stay with us for a while to recover. Don't worry though, we'll make sure she gets the best care. All visitors are friends after all. Oh, I'll leave that to you then. Don't worry, Shikikan, just let her heal. We'll decide what to do next when she recovers her memory. Golfine, keep an eye on her health. The rest can wait until we get back. Will do, Shikikan. Golfine ends the transmission just as Rosa finishes her analysis. Shikikan, I found their destination. If I'm not wrong, these mini robots' origin and destination are over here. Yes, we'll head over now. It's pretty deep into the ruins. We've never been there before. What's there to be afraid of? Things will be fine as long as since we got the Shikikan backing us up. Let's go, let's go.
戦場は片付いた。皆の者、よくやったな。
I guess we're kind of halfway-ish. Anyway, I'll be right back. Drinking too much water. Back. Let's go. Colfine is in the scavenger camp, looking at the wounded woman from behind. Miss, it's getting cold outside. Would you like to come back and rest? I'd like to walk around here a little. It might help jog my memory. The cold wind blows across the highland every now and then, forcing Colfine to press down on her hat to keep it in place. She follows the woman's gaze, but all she sees is empty wasteland, which makes her hold on tighter to her hat. All right then, I'll keep you company for a bit. Don't stay out too long though. The wind is cold. The hurt woman doesn't reply right away, only stretches a stiff neck as she takes in her surroundings, then begins shuffling aimlessly in a random direction. Colfine begins to wonder if the aimless wandering actually serves a purpose. That's a test plot. I think it would be best not to go in there. A test plot? She stops in front of the patch of land. But there's nothing there. It's barren. A square plot of land. Out of place, rough. A waste of effort and hope. There isn't so much as a withered branch here. It seems like the only thing that grows on this plot is nothing. However, Colfine notices something that can't be overlooked. The scavengers go on tiling the soil almost every day. They began a little earlier this morning, and I can see the next shift heading this way. There's nobody here now, so does that mean the day's work is done? Like, this is the only part where no snow has piled up. The scavengers seem to believe that the snow and its glass particles will contaminate the soil, so they pushed it outside the plot. Colfine looks down at the freshly turned soil, somewhat curious about it. Did they plant seeds here, or will they only sow after winter has passed? Supposedly, the seeds that the scavengers used were taken from their emergency rations. I wonder if they're still alive. They still live. But even if seeds were fine, there aren't many cases where plants were successfully grown in the yellow zone. It looks like they've gone to a lot of effort for this. I wonder if they'll succeed. No, all efforts are rewarded. That sort of thing is commonplace. Colfine freezes, then turns to look at the woman. However, she just so happens to have turned aside, exposing an emotionless side profile to her. Colfine reflexively follows the woman's gaze to the heart of the settlement. All lit up and fancy, right? It's nothing like the desolation here. That's the heart of the settlement. They've got trade fairs, residential blocks, warehouses, and so on. You could call it a stable and fully developed town. Does that jog your memory? Nobody among the scavenger recognizes you, so I'm guessing that you might be from the settlement or an outsider who came for the festive trade fair. The hurt woman merely shakes her head, a blank look on her face. I see. Oh well, there's no rush. Maybe it'll all just pop back into place after a few days of rest and relaxation. Just then, someone heads over from the ruins. Hey, Miss Amnesia, Miss Doll. Well, isn't that a coincidence? Did you girls come out for a breath of fresh air? Several of the scavengers call out to them. A few minutes later, they're in front of Colfine and the woman. Miss Doll, did Miss Amnesia remember anything? I think she might need a little more time. The scavengers murmur their agreement. Then one of them pats the injured woman on the shoulder. It seems to throw her off balance, and Colfine moves to support her. It's surprising just how much strength a gaunt little body like that can possess. In contrast, the amnesiac woman seems a little more well-fed. Colfine sighs internally. It's okay, miss. Just focus on getting better. Once you're strong enough, we'll take you around to look up the guards. That said, those dogs in the management have their noses in the air. They don't give a crap about us, so you'll probably have to explain your circumstances to them on your own. Thank you. It's nothing. If you really can't find your people, then you can just hang with us. Plowing the land and searching for parts is still enough to make a living. Who knows? Maybe you'll remember us someday, as long as you don't starve to that. Maybe we'll grow a pumpkin that's taller than a man too. You guys really have a really positive outlook. You're right. Things might not look so good right now, but if you hang in there, things will probably get better. Yep. We made it through this year after all. Oh, I heard the expedition leader Garen came back. Although we probably won't be allocated any of the good stuff, we can probably beg or borrow some of it, right? Plus the trade fair is almost here, so spring is coming and we'll be able to collect our annual supplies. Who knows, we might be able to grow something by next year. That's an improvement, right? Through this, most of us followed Yura because our families were gone. The idea of finding people from our hometown and living with them is way better than dying alone out there. When the days are this cold, you'll go for any way of keeping warm, even if it's just by huddling up with others. The wood the the wounded woman is a bit of a loss for how to respond and merely grunts. All right. That's enough chatting for now. Our little walk is almost over. Miss, you ought to head back and get some rest. Golfine bids the scavengers goodbye and hauls the wounded woman back to her sickbed. However, the woman turns and heads elsewhere as they approach the medical tent. Miss, our tent is this way. The wind isn't as strong here. I'd like to spend a bit more time outside. The wounded woman slowly walks between the tents. The red ribbons which serve as festive decorations flutter in the wind. When they block her vision, she reaches out to sweep them aside. Wait for me! Even though several layers of tent fabric, the scavengers' voices carried clearly through the air. This tastes awful. Are we really supposed to celebrate the festival by eating this? What do you think? You know as well as I do that this year turned out how this year turned out. You might not even get potatoes if you were outside. Just eat it, man. Or what if we tried turning it into mashed potatoes? Maybe with a little bit of dirt to bulk it up. Or maybe you could add some potato to the dirt for flavor. Come on, we can't possibly eat dirt, right? Leaving aside whether or not it's actually edible, we ought to say clean dirt for farming crops. How about adding some water? Would water work? You mean clean water? Didn't Yura say some water for sowing season in the spring? If you think it's too dry, you can always try some of the melt water outside. Now with added collapsed particles. Yeah, right. I see you can eat that crap. Maybe we could tell Yura that we won't be celebrating this year around. I mean, we don't even know how next year is going to be, so we should set up some rations. Hell no. The year went poorly. It can't be helped. We all worked hard this past year to the bone even. That's why we need this reunion dinner to wrap things up properly. Being able to eat well is a good omen for the coming year. And besides, even if potatoes taste like crap, being able to fill your belly is still a good thing, right? At least you'll have the strength to work. Okay. Oh yeah, have you taken a look around the fair? They say Leader Garen's back, and he had quite a haul. There's just about everything in there. A lot of underground brokers came as well, with canned food, fish, meat, and so on. Wish I could try some of that while I'm still alive. Don't be retarded, yeah? If you break the law, they'll drive you out, and you'll really start to that. I'll just place my faith in these potatoes. Say, you think we can make it taste like fish? Man, we had a lot of dialogue for that. The wounded woman's strength fails her. She stumbles and collapses against one of the temples. Well, okay, the dialogue's useful for world building. Okay, I mean, we don't know how the scavengers live, and in fact, I really don't have a strong idea of how people from the Yellow Zone live. In fact, they're kind of one of the more bottom rung of the people who live in the Yellow Zone. So that makes it worse. Not my tent. The scavenger draws the flap aside. Miss Amnesia, hey, you okay? We were just making some potato salad. No, wait, we nixed the dirt. Want to try some? Sorry for bumping into your tent. Don't worry about it, miss. Have some. It's better than going hungry, right? We don't have much in the way of fancy cuisine here. We can still fill our bellies. we'll be able to get some supplies once the festive trade fair begins. Yeah, we still have the fair. I've been looking forward to it for half a year now. The management never failed to deliver on that side. Maybe we'll get something other than potatoes this year. Why not come in, miss? No, it's alright. I was just passing by. I'm not hungry. She waves to them, forcing a smile into her face. Her smile soon fades, replaced by confusion and mixed feelings. I wonder why. She had mixed feelings. That's very interesting. It's as if she is she's aware of something, huh? We follow Gross's analysis of the mini robot's route and head deeper into the ruins. Colfine sends through another comms request. Shikigan, Bepley. Colfine shoves Bepley aside, forces herself into the frame. She's speaking much faster than normal. Shikigan, that wounded lady vanished. Everyone in the camp searched all the hands, but we couldn't find any trace of her. She must have entered the ruins because we can't find her anywhere else. What should we do, Shikigan? When was the last time you saw her? About half an hour ago. We came back from walking outside, but just as I was getting ready to change her bandages, I came back and found she wasn't in her bed. Bepley's been practicing for the show in the Shikigan's tent. Bepley then see the missing audience member. I like Bepley's concerns. Colfine briefly describes the events that took place. Doesn't seem like anything's wrong. The camp's far away from everything else, and she's hurt, so she couldn't have gone too far. Could she have regained her memories and suddenly remembered that she had something to do? With no idea about what might have happened, the dolls fall silent. Just leave her be for now. Whether she stays or goes, that won't affect us. And we save her simply because we had the luxury of doing so. She's free to leave if she wants. You and Bepley can keep searching for her if you want. If you find her collapsed somewhere, help her out. If you can't find her, then you don't need to spend too much time and effort on it. Understood, Shikigan. I'll look for her one last time. The transmission ends. I hope she's alright. Everyone, we're almost at our destination. Hostile robots might show up, so please stay alert. It's in the building up ahead, right? Main doors look closed. I'll go bash it open right now. We're going for a frontal assault? Kinghua, wait. Kinghua quickly halts in her tracks. We don't know what's happening inside that building. We should probably circle around the back and try to observe the insides before deciding on what to do. Oh, that makes sense. Sorry, I was being hasty. Let's go from the left then. Kinghua runs on ahead. Well, these are ruins for you. There's tons of rot and rust overhead. Oops, mind your feet. The ground's crumbling. Thanks for the reminder, but I think you were the one who stepped on the crumbly bits. Wait. I was wondering why it smells like sriracha right now. My bottle of sriracha fell. It didn't spill or anything. It's just that. It fell. It was open. I didn't notice it for quite some time, but it's not so bad. Anyway. Now I'm getting hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet. It's 9 p.m. Is that so? Clumsy me, then. No making fun of me for it, though. Ladies, please keep quiet. There might be robots in there listening to the situation on the outside. The air falls silent. I think I can see what's inside from here. Yura finds a hole in the wall, crouches down to look inside. A moment later, Yura pulls away from the hole. He seems shaken by what he's seen. He looks at me and freezes up for a moment, his mouth opening and closing like a goldfish's before he finally manages to regain the ability to speak. Beside him, Kinghua eagerly takes his place. It's the right place. It's full of... Whoa! Commander, is there mini robots everywhere in this in there. Row after row, with all kinds of resource crates around them. You got to see this, Shikigan. Kinoa took the words out of my mouth. Kinoa pulls me over to the hole. Kinoa, take a few pictures of those mini robots and see if you can find anything find out anything new about them. Rosa and Sabrina help her out. The balls begin working. Those mini robots look just like any other robot you've seen in the Yellow Zone. Nothing unusual about them. Shikigan, given the weathering on their outer shells, it's likely that not all of them are from the same batch. They seem to have been manufactured in different series and gathered here. I see. Shikigan, can I prevail on you and your dolls to take out these robots? We scavengers didn't steal those things, and if we can return the stolen goods, we might be able to change their bad opinion of us. At the very least, we won't be blamed for the most recent spate of thefts. Also, those robots attack us when we're out in the wasteland. Lots of our guys fought them before, and rebuilding the ruins would be easier without them around. I mean, we're already here, Shikigan. Why don't we throw hands with them? I like that expression on Kinoa. That's my plan from the beginning. When you attack, try and leave a few intact. I'll make tracing them or turning them in easier. Gotcha. I need you to say yes. Now then, shall we get to it then? Be careful. It might have a functional alert. With a thud, Kinoa lands among the mini robots and yells to our friends. Oh crap, I triggered their defense programs. Help me out, guys. Jesus Christ. Crap, these diner gates and Goliaths are all moving. I can see that. Kinoa, you should inform your teammates before you start a fight. Sorry, I haven't had teammates in a while. Won't happen again. Jesus Christ, bro. Chill out. She's really she's really fiery. I don't know how to describe her other than that. Hot-headed. You know? Like in the Dark Knight. Take this hot-head away or some shit.
次はシャープさん交代しても知らないよ
Man, I just realized the background. This is a huge place. Enough that there's some tanks inside. There are broken tanks inside. How big is the farm? What the fuck? It's a really huge farm then. After every skirmish, all the enemy robots are dealt with. Come to think of it, I've never been to like a massive scale farm, so I wouldn't know what they look like. Okay, going back to this. Phew, it's over. So the neon that was responsible for stealing all the supplies were actually this pack of mini robots. Yura, let's go over our spoils. I mean, the stolen goods. Okay, coming. Yura and I enter the building and look at the supply crates of various sizes that cover the ground. Many of them are plastered with the labels reading Festive Fair with fancy lettering. It seems they're part of the trade fair decorations. Let's start by consolidating everything. Well, they know who's stealing, but they know what's stealing this stuff. But there's still that thing about the camera, right? Something had edited the footage, so there might be something else going on as well. The battle just now had made an even bigger mess of the supply crates compared to before. The dolls began working at my command. Yura, once we send this stuff back, people won't suspect the scavengers as much, right? Yeah, we'll finish doing an inventory of the items, then we'll hand them and these robots over to the inspector. The scavengers can operate these robots, and if the management takes a good look at these robots' authorizations and data logs, they ought to be able to find something that benefits us. However, Yura doesn't seem to be cheered up by this new development. The thing is, until the truth is made public, the fact that these items were found in our turf won't necessarily clear our names in the eyes of the people who don't know the truth. On the contrary, it might actually make things worse. I need to think about the best way to hand these things over. I think it's best to stay quiet about this until we fully analyze the pros and cons of doing so. Can't you contact the inspector in private? Maybe try to send it back under the cover of night? The settlement has a night curfew, so things are pretty quiet then. I was thinking that too. I'll contact the inspector now. Yura's call is rejected twice before it finally goes through. The man that Yura calls the inspector has a stern look on his face, as though he was born scowling. Yura, did you schedule this call? Sorry about this, Inspector, but we made a surprising discovery. Yura points to the pile of lost items behind him. The inspector raises an eyebrow, and for the first time he looks directly at Yura and me as I stand beside him. Where did you find them? Did you catalog them? What exactly is in there? We found them in the depths of the ruins. We're on the scene right now. I'll send you the coordinates. We've also gathered and sorted them. I'll send you a list as well. The inspector goes through the information Yura sent. Is that all? Is there nothing else? What else should there be? It's not like we got a list of stolen items to check against, right? There's something I've been meaning to say back then in the interrogation room. There's something weird about you guys. If you have something to say, then just say it. The inspector seems completely unbothered by Kinhua's displeasure. Never mind. You've done well in finding the lost items. However, I have a question. These coordinates are in the depths of the ruins. When did the scavengers go far inside? I don't recall seeing any reports about it. The question is addressed to Yura, but he's looking directly at me. We've never been here before. There are mini robots everywhere, and they attack in self-defense whenever anyone gets close. It's not like we can handle them with the weapons we have. It's all thanks to Kinhua and her Shikigan. Yura steps away from the center of the frame, so Kinhua and I are fully visible. Kinhua merely shakes a fist and grits her teeth. So, you're the Inspector Gadget or something. What the fuck? Making a reference? Anyway, I remember your voice. You were questioning me in there. You were on the other side of that one-way mirror, weren't you? The inspector nods to me and ignores Kinhua. Perhaps I'm imagining things, but he seems a bit too focused on sizing me up. Inspector, I called you in hopes of arranging a way to secretly transport these items. After all, they were found in the ruins. It's not often that scavengers get to contribute to the community, so we'd rather not have it cause suspicion in dissent instead. That is understandable. I'll have my assistants arrange the details with you. And with that, the inspector ends the call. Huh. I just got an invitation to a meeting with his adjutant. My brain's dying. Looks like I'll have work to do today. That's good, right? No matter how you slice it, since the scavengers are bringing lost items in, they can't just turn it around on you and make you the villains of the story, right? Who knows? We're not like Leader Garen and his expedition corps. Everyone loves that. Still, since we can't change everyone's view of us overnight, all we can do is the best we can within our abilities. The inspector seems to be in a better mood after seeing those items. He probably won't hassle the scavengers for a while now. Kinhua, everyone, thank you very much. Did his face change? It did, right? Usually he frowns even more than that. Yura seems to have thought of something and he hugs himself while shuddering. Never mind, it's in the past. No point of thinking about it. Yura, will we be going back to the counter resupply? If we're only going to move the stolen goods after sun goes down, we might have to wait for a while. I want to watch over the goods myself. After all, we went to a lot of effort to find it. We can't let this roast chicken fly the coop. Can you lend the dolls back and give them a rest? Lead the dolls back and give them a rest along the route we took here. I'll have my stronger friends come by later to prepare to move the items tonight. Will it be okay? I think you mentioned that this was your first time coming this deep. Well, you cleared the route and we'll be coming in force. I think we can handle it. Noticing our hesitation, Yura light-heartedly reassures us. We'll be fine. My boys and I have been exploring these ruins for almost a year now. They've grown a lot through their experiences. If there's anything we can't beat, we'll run. Fair enough. We'll be heading back then. Oh, right. Shigan, will you be staying for the festive trade fair? Once it starts, we will probably be able to collect some supplies. When the time comes, feel free to come by our camp and we'll celebrate. While our points are this kind of dismal, we should have enough for a decent dinner with our saviors, I think. Oh, speaking of meals, I actually found something interesting just now, but I don't have the time to explain in detail. Once we're done here, I'll tell you all about it at the camp. If it all goes well, we'll be able to eat more lavishly next year, even if it isn't this year. That would be great. The way back is long, and we can still see Yura waving to us in the distance. Shigan, I actually received a text message just now. It looks weird, like some kind of prank. However, the timing was impeccable, so it might actually be legit. Kingwa holds her communicator up in front of me. The sender is unknown. To the Shikigan of the Elmo, I have an urgent commission for you that pays well. The price is negotiable. I would like to tell you about it in person, Farm Inspector. There are a bunch of coordinates behind it, which just so happen to be inside Darksteel Farm. When did you receive this information? Right after Chief Yura spoke to the inspector. Groza, can you pinpoint the location of the supplied coordinates? While it's still within the farm, it's some distance from other locations we passed through previously. Now, comparing the map data to the fair and the settlement, I found it, Shikikan. It's the farm's administration center. Huh. Could it really be from the inspector? Are you interested in the message contents? He did say it would pay well. I give Groza a meaningful look, urging her to think of the Elmo's bills. Okay. And Groza indicates that she understands. Shikan, I believe we should learn more about the nature of this commission. It's decided then. Once we are rested, we'll head over. Do we need to make an appointment or something? Yura got grilled just now because he didn't make arrangements. Cut the dig of it. How do we even make appointments? Do we have the permission to do that? The message didn't mention any particular timing, and it said it was an urgent commission, so we can skip the appointment. Huh? Is that what it means? No point thinking any more about it. We'll know once we get there. Just a bit more. I guess halfway. There are many guards near the administration center, and we are approached before we can even reach the signpost main door. He's frowning too, just like that stern inspector. Are you the Elmo's commander? Shikikan, I'm Inspector Leo's assistant. Please follow me. He produces a metal name tag with his name on it from his pocket, and after briefly checking our identities, he gestures us to follow him. Two squads of guards coincidentally happen to arrive and begin a shift change. As the rows of men interlock and shift, the adjutant heads toward the main door, but instead goes around it, heading towards the rear of the admin center. I signal to the dogs to slow down. King Ha leans in close and whispers into my ear. Is there a need to be so sneaky about this? Isn't the inspector the big boss of the settlement? You think they're going to try and arrest and interrogate us? We'll just have to ask them. I look behind us. The shift change is proceeding at pace, with the guards reporting to each other in the usual fashion. It serves to completely screen off the route we're taking around the admin center. Excuse me, but aren't we going in through the front door? The inspector would prefer that this discussion be conducted in secret, so we seek your understanding. Our choice of location is not very conventional. Huh? Listen up, pal. Conventional or not, it had better not be that damned interrogation room again. No way in hell I'll let the Shikigan go in there. You had no idea, Shikigan. You can't get out once you go in. It's like that black dolphin prison. The what? Wait, that sounds familiar. Where did I hear? Black dolphin prison. Penitentiary in Russia. Oh yeah, because they're located in Russia. Okay, yeah. This game does take place in Russia, or around Eastern Europe. Please be at ease. You're not under suspicion, and the venue in question is simply a room that had not been used in a long time. We won't draw attention there. The dolls look at me, waiting for my answer. The adjutant glances to the side at the guards beside us. They won't be able to buy us much time. Shikigan, the inspector does not want to force her involvement, but I shouldn't be saying this, but as an individual, I hope you'll bring some change. Some way to improve things. The adjutant does his best to show his sincerity. Does your inspector keep his promises? I distinctly recall him mentioning it pays well. The adjutant freezes for a moment, and then he responds. I'm sure you'll be satisfied with the payment. Please follow me. That's kind of sus. The adjutant pushes the door open and gestures for us to enter while he stands and watch outside. There's someone waiting inside the room. Commander De Elmo, your reputation precedes you. I'm glad we could meet at last. Your performance during the Selman theft case has left a deep impression on me. I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm sure you will not be disappointed by the payment of this commission. He stands up and looks me over. There's no sign of anything resembling joy in his stern expression. Beside me, Kingwa clenches her fist. I cover her hand and hand her off to Serena so the latter can try to calm her down. Man, she's such a hothead. Hello, Inspector Leo. No wonder she's burned team. It seems one of my dolls was in your care previously. Allow me to thank you for your hospitality. The inspector goes silent for a moment. We regret mistaking your doll for a thief, and all suspicion of her has been cleared. If our interrogators gave any offense, I would like to apologize on their behalf. Kiwa, they apologized already. Don't be mad, okay? I'm not mad. I was framed. I've been running around the yellow zone for years, and this is the first time anyone's treated me like a thief. Also, the inspector also seems to have a commission for the Shikikan. It's going to make things difficult for her if you stay mad at the inspector, don't you think? Sabrina patiently quells Kiwa's wrath, which allows her to cool down and think. That kind of makes sense too. Kiwa glares at the inspector one last time and takes a deep breath. Fine then, for the sake of the Shikikan and this payment, I hope we will all get along. Sabrina breathes a sigh of relief as she mutters to herself. Good thing it was Kiwa. At least she's easy to persuade. She's always been the accepting and optimistic type. I mutter my own reply to Sabrina. Maybe that's why she makes friends everywhere she goes. I just want the misunderstanding to be cleared up so it doesn't impede our joint operations going forward. Have a seat, Shikikan. The inspector pulls up a chair and we both sit. Before we officially begin, there's one thing I'd like to verify for safety's sake. I understand your capabilities to a certain extent, and since I have decided to entrust you with this matter, I will also be placing great trust in you. To facilitate future endeavors, I will be sharing some information with you that should not leave this room. Can I ask you to keep it secret for me, whether or not we end up working together? Don't worry, we of the Elmo know how things work around here. I'll get to it then. The farm lost more than just those items you found. We also lost collapsed pieces, enough to feed hundreds of people for 6 months. Once he finishes, the room is so silent you could hear a pin drop. What? Wait, how many? Holy crap, this is one hell of a job. If you're talking about enough to feed hundreds of people for half a year, you need half a dozen dump trucks to carry them all, right? We're planning to use those glass pieces to purchase the basic living supplies that we would be distributing to the residents on the first day of the festive trade fair. We have chosen to delay the opening ceremony, but that is not a permanent solution. Let me put it this way. Even if we distributed all the remaining supplies in our warehouse, we won't be able to support this element for half a year. In addition, we cannot keep delaying the opening ceremony forever. I want to hire you to find the lost class pieces ASAP. As for the payment, the inspector sounds tired and dejected, as though all of this has drained him of his emotions. He sends me a contract, which contains a respectable figure. Considering the sheer quantity of class pieces that went missing, don't you think calling it a simple case of lost and found is kind of insulting the residents' intelligence? Of course, it would be strange to say they vanished all at once, but that is why I am handing the secret investigation to you. The class pieces are normally stored in the most heavily guarded part of the warehouse. Not many people can repeatedly access that area. So you suspect someone inside the settlement was involved. If a full transport chain was involved, maybe it was a group effort. Right now, I have no idea who I can trust, so I might as well draw on outside force to help. Thanks to the stall, I had a perfect excuse to publicly mobilize our resources to investigate the Elmo. At the very least, I am now certain that you're an uninvolved third party, at least for the moment. Everything is clear to me now, for the most part. But I have one question. I point to the payment on the contract. If the amount of class pieces we find does not match the initial estimate, and even if we do this task for you, there's no guarantee that the farm's management committee will be able to pay the full amount or even pay it at all. Am I correct to assume this? The inspector is silent for much longer than before. Finally, he nods. To be frank, the sum promised here is the maximum amount I can muster up, even if everything goes according to plan. The recovered class pieces are needed for the celebratory distributions. Only after those are given out can the remainder be used for payment. If you accept payment in installments, then as long as the farm survives, we will be able to pay off the promised amount in 3 years. Installment plan, okay. I am somewhat surprised at this. Isn't 3 years a little too long for this? From what we saw in the daytime, the festive trade fair had a wealth of goods on display. Surely the farm's finances aren't that bad, are they? Part of the merchandise on display at the festive trade fair is brought by the brokers themselves. The rest of it is collected by the expedition team. Also, our trade with the brokers depend on what the expedition team brings back. Right now, the nearby ruins have essentially been cleared out, so the expedition team can only go further afield. We need to take into account the impact of such factors on our work efficiency. I see. You've been very forthcoming with us, so allow me to consider your offer. I study the numbers in the contract, and then think about the Elmo's financial situation and how we have very few options left. The absolute state of the Elmo, man. You literally have like some dolls who has a lot of money, and then you guys are suffering in fucking poverty. Our expenses have exceeded as the number of dolls joining us have gone up. Even 50% of the offer price would allow us to cover the Elmo's operating costs. Very well, I accept. I reach out and shake the inspector's hand and quickly finish signing the contract. And now we can finally get down to business. Do you have any suspects in mind? Yes, the lead suspect is our accountant cum warehouse manager. Her name is Dahlia. They use that word too much, way too often than the usual. It's like they're making an excuse to use that word. Anyway, we found some irregularities during our previous routine investigation, but she has gone missing by then. The management went through all our surveillance footage, but didn't find any trace of her. I don't know, accounting was so dangerous. When did she vanish? That was 3 days ago. This is her personal file, including her picture. The inspector brings out the suspect's photograph. Sabrina exclaims in surprise, and even Rosa has a stunned look on her face. She again, that's the lady we found. You've seen her? Where? Where's she now? If she's the one you're looking for, things might be a little tricky. It's true we saw her, but she ran off. According to the transmission from Colfine, she has already left the scavenger's camp before we found the missing trade goods. Rosa quickly explains the situation. Have you been checking your camera footage over the past few couple of days? No, the trade fair is about to begin, and our guards have been stretched thin. We also performed comprehensive search before and concluded that she already left the farm's territory. Actually, some people subscribe to the theory that the most dangerous place is the safest place. We might still have a chance. Since she already turned up in the scavenger's camp, and we know the time frame when she left, we could try looking through the logs of the cameras nearest the camp. That might narrow it down. Then let's go to the archives. Sometime later. So I see. It all makes sense now. After she left the scavenger's camp, she entered the civilian home and left with a trolley and supply crates heading for the fair. She's disguised as one of the traders. Kingwa plays the video clips of all those events in sequence, forming a complete narrative. Our eyes meet and we decide to take action immediately. There are more people in the trade fair today than before. Everyone's smiling brightly, their faces full of hope and anticipation, utterly clueless about the disaster looming on the horizon. I glance to my side, then at the inspector whose face is fixed in a grim scowl, and reflect on how ignorance truly is bliss. Kingwa in position. I'm ready too. The disguised Dahlia has already come into range of the dolls. It's time to close the net. She can't. We're in range, ready to catch the target anytime. Go. On my command, Kingwa and Groza rush forward, each seizing one of the target's arms. Sabrina steps up in front of her. Shh. Don't panic. We're just here to... Dahlia quickly looks between the dolls and me, but her eyes light up the moment she sees the inspector, like a limp marionette suddenly imbued with the spark of light. All of us disguised ourselves before coming here, but she somehow managed to hone in onto the inspector with perfect accuracy. How she did it is a mystery. Dear customers, your order is ready. Please follow me to collect it. Huh? Wait, what order? Did we place an order? Dahlia lowers her voice. I won't run. Please let go of me so people don't notice. The inspector needs to know the truth. I can't let myself die before that. Dahlia looks at the inspector. Gila and Groza look at me, awaiting my order. Why are you so afraid of me? I'm just a hurt civilian. I'm not even an arm. Let go. You came here looking for me, right? I signaled to Gila and Groza to let her go. Please, follow me to the temporary cargo holding area, dear customers. Dahlia leads us away. She's trying to move quickly, but her injuries mean she isn't actually moving all that fast, which only adds to the tension. Ah, shit, my mouse again has this issue. I'll be right back. Okay. We've gone to a halt deep within the storage area, which is largely deserted. At first, my plan was to continue pretending to have lost my memory and stay in the scavenger's plant camp before leaving the settlement. The further I got from this place, the better. But in the end, I couldn't do it. Dahlia looks toward the scavenger's camp and sighs, then she takes a booklet out of her pockets. There are dark red stains on it. This is the real accounting ledger for the warehouse. You'll need it. The late former warehouse manager hid it very well. Damn him. It took me a lot of effort to find it, and I doubt you're interested in hearing the details right now. Dahlia looks at the inspector. You have no idea what that implies. For the past few years, you would go out in person and inspect the progress of the preparations for the trade fair. That's why I chose to pose as a merchant at the fair in order to increase my chances of meeting you. I need to personally ensure this boat reach your hands. Inspector, I have someone I would like to report. That would be the expedition leader Garen. For many years, he has falsified the amount of supplies gathered and falsely claimed contribution points for the expedition team. In addition, he has stolen large amounts of collapsed crystals. They took them in roughly 20 batches since the start of last month. The evidence is included in that ledger. A cold wind blows. For a while, everyone is silent. Is it a tradition of the settlement to drop bombshell news with completely straight faces? Alright, King. Contorting your faces for emotional expression consumes energy, which is a luxury I do not have right now. Do people actually think like that? What the fuck? Wait, I'll be right back. Let's get back to this. Dahlia wobbles as another gust of wind blows, and Sabrina worriedly moves up to support her. You need medical attention, Signorina. I like how she spoke in Italian for some reason. Dahlia waves her off, her eyes still fixed on the inspector. The previous warehouse manager was in on it. But it seems he had a disagreement with Garen on the matter of the collapsed pieces, so he lost his life. The moment I took over, I noticed something wrong with the accounts, and it was nearly silenced as a result. My would-be killers thought I was dead and threw me into a disused storm drain. If these dolls hadn't been there, nobody would have found my corpse. Who do you think sent those killers? And what weapons do you think they use? The inspector does not reply. Rosa and Sabrina quietly look away. It's quite a little embarrassing to be called out for illegal immigration right in front of the region's supreme authority. I fled here because of disaster. I know just how bad life in the Yellow Zone can be. It took a long time and a lot of hard work for the settlement to get to how it is today. And it's thanks to everyone's effort that it's still going. I decided I'm done fleeing. It's too tiring for me. Can you take care of this, Inspector? Right now, the only person who can stand up to leader Garen, the only one we can count on, is you. It is at this point the Inspector breaks the silence. You ought to know that this one piece of evidence isn't enough. The former warehouse manager's body has already been disposed of. That particular dead man will not be telling any tales. But we have a duty to the residents. Everyone has worked hard all year and handled their excess wealth and resources to the management to handle. Hardly anyone has any reserves. Now that the celebration is at hand, we won't know that people are going to start panicking if the supplies aren't handed out, and it will soon erupt into unrest and chaos like the outside. This is more than a simple case of theft, so I urge you to treat this matter with the utmost seriousness. I understand the gravity of what you had said, and I will thoroughly investigate this matter. Until then, the guards will arrange for you to be housed in a safe location and receive around-the-clock protection. I also feel there's kind of something sus about that whole thing then. I don't know, maybe, let's continue, but I mean, I feel at some point the inspector might be actually serious about the whole thing, but at the same time, he might be on it, and he's just there to help with the cleanup, if you know what I mean. I don't know, man. In jail? I have considered that option. The inspector ignores Kingdom's groans and looks Dahlia in the eye. The farm does not have any dedicated witness protection areas, so in lieu of that, a prison cell would be a most secure location, as it is staffable by reliable personnel and its layout is already well known. Currently, it is the best option for protecting a sensitive witness. I will do my best to furnish you with a comfortable environment and medical care in your cell. You will only be detained for a short period of time in order to ensure your safety. You don't have to explain further. I trust you to do the right thing. Inspector, I already celebrated many celebrations here, and the management, you have never once missed a single one, which is why everyone has come to trust you. Dahlia thinks, and then she fixes the inspector with a stern look. I believe you understand the significance of the celebration in everyone's eyes. It's more than just a day to collect living supplies. It's a symbol of hope in the future. It shows the path of unity, cooperation, and coexistence that we chose to cling to is a meaningful one. Oh shit, you know what? I just realized a couple of parallels of what's going on in the story. I dare not say it. I dare not say it. It references a certain thing in real life, so I should not. For the safety of my safety. for the sake of my safety, that's safe. Whatever, man. You know what I mean. So please, may the celebration be a happy one. I will do my utmost. The inspector's adjutant and his men escort Dahlia away and out of sight. Sabrina notes that the inspector's hands are balled up into a fist. She nervously moves closer to me before whispering to my ear. Is he going to be alright? He seems a little, Is it a good time that we have an idea where to find the missing collapsed pieces? I remember the vendors talking about the inspector and expedition leader shared paths. They were battle buddies once. It's good for the case. It's good for the case, but for him as a person, well, human emotions are a complex thing. We return to the admin center with the inspector. There is a gloomy mood in the air. Okay, you know what? I think no. I think he's the real deal because I'm thinking he wouldn't go to the effort of like hiding, having a covert meeting and all that if he was part of the group who's been stealing the funds. The inspector looks down at Dahlia's notes as she flips through them. In addition to the accounting data, Dahlia had tried to provide as much information as she could. What do you think of the information provided by the witness? Even if the witness' testimony can be corroborated, the charges are being levied against a core figure of the farm. I believe having more proof would be helpful in the case. There are cameras throughout the farm. There's no way for the opposition to hide if they make a okay, they're the ones who doctored it. If they make a move, so verifying it wouldn't be difficult. The question now is how far you're willing to go to gather this fruit. The inspector remains silent in his seat, as if he's morphed into a statue. What a description. He seems ill at ease while sitting in the chair, as if the temporary meeting room suddenly seems very cramped. Let's verify the evidence. The area surrounding the location where the witness was attacked was covered by a camera. This footage should be in the appropriate security kiosk. I'll have my people give you today's cipher key. So I hope you will verify the truth of this attack. I also need to know the identity of the person who attacked her. Take whatever screenshots you need and send them to my adjutant. He will corroborate it against the database of residents. This commission is still secret, so I hope you will maintain a low profile. A secret? Are you worried about something, Inspector? The inspector looks up. There's a sharp glint in his eyes. It's just in case. Neither the management nor the guards can be fully trusted. My adjutant is beyond suspicion. He is reliable. I am sure of that. Understood. All the best to the both of us. I lead the dolls to the security kiosk in question. Damn it, someone's messed with this camera too. Wait, 2? Why did I say 2? That's because tampering here is almost exactly like what was done during the mini robot theft incident. Don't tell me the same person was behind both cases. It's hard to say. We don't have enough evidence. Let's just start by restoring the original footage. We just need to connect to level 2 like last time, right? Shouldn't be a problem. The data restoration is complete. In the restored footage, we can see Dahlia falling over after being shot. The killer approaches and drags her to a nearby storm drain. Looks like we're in luck. We got several shots of the killer's face. I'll send these images to the adjutant. While you're at it, ask the inspector about how to proceed next. Should we head back to the admin center and meet up with him? You find a secluded corner and take a quick rest. Shortly afterwards, the communication alerts bleeps. It's from the inspector. Put it true. Rosa quickly explained what we discovered. Yes, my adjutant just told me that there was a match in the resident database. The man is a high-ranking member of their expedition team. Alright, the expedition team, you say? Let's go catch their leader now. What was his name again? I think it's called Garen. If it really was an inside job, then a lot of doubts from before can be answered. The spate of thefts from the residential areas. The trade fair would force the guards to focus on them, which probably means the warehouse wouldn't be as closely guarded as before, right? The people who would know this best would obviously be core members of the management. Yes, that's right. And then there's the story about the Nyan causing trouble. The one came from a member of the expedition team too, right? Someone's uncle's nephew. Someone's uncle's nephew's father's roommate or something. All this makes the expedition team more suspicious, but it doesn't directly implicate Garen. Hey, are you still holding on to past friendship or something? Everyone's class pieces are missing here. Aren't they going to starve if you drag your feet? You know what? I'm sure the inspector knows this. He just needs some time. I stopped him up from pressing further. He has done a lot for the settlement, and people trust him as much as they do me. I need to proceed carefully when it comes to him. But the Festus Trade Fair's opening ceremony is coming, and you already delayed it once. Yes, the traders with our supplies arrived at the farm last week. If we leave them be and fail to close the trade with them, they'll cancel it and leave. These brokers are not in the habit of hanging around and wasting time. Well, I have to say that you guys have your principles. A lot of settlements would choose to just rob the brokers outright. I've seen plenty of that in the Yellow Zone. Trade requires stability and trust. Those settlements you were talking about probably don't last long. Also, we have too many non-combatants here. We can't afford to have a firefight at the checkpoint. That's also a major factor in all this. The inspector rubs his temples. Can't you, give out a little less? I would rather avoid such a course of action unless I have absolutely no choice. The management does not rely entirely on the guards to maintain order. The residents obey our regulations because they have faith in us. And a major part of that is not stealing from each other. The residents' obedience is directly predicated on the management's willingness to keep their word. It's a virtuous cycle. Kind of makes me think about certain thing that I was thinking about in real life. It's obvious. This is obviously a commentary about something. Once trust in the management is gone, nobody will buy into the social contract anymore. That way lies chaos. We saw the expedition team before. There's one thing I'm curious about. Are most settlements' weapons concentrated in the expedition team? They're the only group that needs to lead the settlement to work. They shoulder the greatest risk. Naturally, we give them our best gear, including 70% of our personal protective gear, weapons, and ammunition to be distributed as they see fit. So they're basically their military force, which fucks them over. If the situation truly calls for it, we may need to disperse the residents. I understand your concerns. The truth is I have an idea, but it's a risky one. Come over to the admin center, we can talk there. The transmission ends. 2 days later, early in the morning, a broker convoy loaded with supplies leaves the settlement. Perhaps it's out of pity, or perhaps it's to repay the inspector's honest dealings with them, but they make their exit without fanfare. Leo, how can you even sit your ass at a time like this? The door to the inspector's office files open. They really left. What should we do about our supplies now? The man from the expedition team projects an air of strength and danger, like a veteran Vaeger captain or the leader of a band of bounty hunters. The supply problem has been taken care of, Mr. Garen. And on to Garen. It is only then he realizes my presence. And who's this? A guest of yours? The expedition leader looks at the inspector. This is the commander of the Elmo, our new partner. We partnered with the broker Aminda, whom I introduced to the inspector. She can accept a short-term deferral in payment with my guarantee. You sounded desperate, so she's on her way now. Once again, I thank you for your help in this hour of need. All the residents will remember your kindness. This development seems to have taken Garen by surprise because he pauses before speaking. Oh, so it's settled, huh? Alright then. Miss Aminda doesn't know the region well, so we're planning to send a team out to receive her. It's no problem. Garen thinks for a moment, and then he adds something else. Your guards don't lead the settlement often, so you probably don't know the way. Let me handle the meeting. I'll bring my boys along. It's very sus. I can rest assured with you handling things. The festive trade fair is almost here. We cannot have any slip-ups. Looks like we'll be meeting Aminda together, Leader Garen. I'll get my guys ready. In the blink of an eye, it's time to head out. The shake again, was it? Let's go. You lead the way. Hang on. The inspector isn't here yet. What the hell do you need him for? You're an outsider, so you probably don't know. But all he does is send the expedition team every now and then. He's too busy to come each time. Let's go. Don't bother waiting for him. Serena looks surprised. Huh? Didn't you know, Leader Garen? The inspector is coming with us to meet Aminda. Say what? I hear the sound of footsteps behind us. It's the inspector. Sorry to keep you waiting. We can go now. Leo! What the hell? You finished all your business? The fair's about to begin, you know. Aren't you supposed to stay home and make sure everything's running fine? The hell are you doing out here? The shipment is of vital importance. If anything goes wrong with it, nothing else will matter. So if anything comes up, having me around will make things go more smoothly. Ha! It's been years since you've been outside of town. Don't you think you're getting a little too old for this? Just settle down. We don't need sudden stunts from you at a critical moment like this. If you want to go out on a ride, I'll bring you with me on our next expedition. You can save it. I already made up my mind. Seriously. It's time to head out. Since you clearly value that shipment very highly, it's best you make a decision soon. Let's go. Garen clearly hasn't given up on dissuading Leo, but the inspector ignores him and looks at me. Mount up, everyone. Follow us. We're close to the end. And then I'm gonna have dinner. And then we're gonna go to Uma Musume. Also known as Horse Daughter, the literal translation. In the same way I say Duang. Or some shit. Anyway, the jeep races over the wilderness, stabbing into the horde of aliens like a lance. Fuck! What kind of shitty route is this? Garen's voice is even louder with the wind blowing right in his face. The familiar outdoors seem to have caused him to shred some of his restraint. Time is tight, and the terrain here is comparatively flat, so going straight would be quicker. As for the occasional obstacle, an alien blocking our path collapses as a gunshot rings out. Inspector Actions supplies the answer. Whoa, nice shot, Inspector! I haven't been in a firefight for too long, so I've gotten rusty compared to back then. The inspector laughs in a self-depreciating way. His mouth curves up in a smile. Oh yeah, well he was a bounty hunter before, but you know he's doing the desk jobs now. Back then, I heard the vendors at the fair say Inspector Leo and Leader Garen used to be pals in the bounty hunter crew back in the day. Yep, sure were. This guy used to be a real William Tell, could knock them down as fast as they popped up. That shot just now was too slow, nothing like how he was at his peak. Most bounty hunters tend to stay on the move. Once they finish sweeping the area, they move on to the next, and their routes are largely dictated by their commissions. So why did you guys decide to quit the business and settle down? That seems to be ancient history for them. Garen thinks for a long time before finally giving an answer. We messed up one too many times. A lot of our guys got hurt back or kicked the bucket. In the end, our crew broke up. You know how life it is in the Yellow Zone. This sort of thing happens all the time. All you need is to fill your belly. Take me, for example. As long as you got the skills to pay the bills, you can eat well no matter where you go. Yosa drives the jeep over the sandy curve, and all conversation stops for a bit. We end up swaying back and forth for some time before we can finally settle down. Our crew was never really that united to begin with. We had discussions before doing anything. Anyone who agreed would join us on the commission, and anyone who didn't wouldn't take part. Well, we lived and ate together. We didn't have much in the way of common consensus or close ties. Garen, remember that blonde-haired midget from back in the day? I think so. What happened to him? Don't remember anything about him. Don't think he rebuilt the farm with us. Well, He loved picking up first aid kits and would always go straight for them. Whenever our guys got hurt, they'd buy medical supplies off him, and if you couldn't pay, he'd just watch you die in front of him. Badass. Cold ass motherfucker. Yeah, I remember now. You were always a busybody. I can't remember how many times you lent money to people begging him for meds. In the end, everyone you lent money to died, and you didn't get a single cent back. Ha 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 ha. Lending money to the yellow zone is risky. You need to invest wisely. Jesus Christ, Kayla. Jesus Christ, Kayla. That said, you're a good man for doing what you did, Inspector. Hats off to you. Well, that blonde midget died later on. Nobody ever found that medical chest he always carried with him. Well, no shit. Hell, it might not even have been the enemy that got him. One of our guys might have been eyeing his meds. Back then, we were always coming back with fewer people than we started out with. Some died, some left. Who's to say one of them didn't take out the chest and scram? Back then, people only cared about what they needed at the moment. It wasn't uncommon for infighting to happen because they found something valuable. Crews like that would either crumble or fall apart by themselves. Garen frowns. It seems like he's realizing something because his tone changed. That said, it's the yellow zone, Leo. It's like that everywhere. We're all going to die sooner or later, so I'll just have to fight to survive for as long as I can. How did that saying go, seize the day? I thought that rather than drifting aimlessly, it was better to find a place to settle down. It wasn't necessarily be worse than being a bounty hunter. That's why we came to Darksteel Farm after the crew disbanded. A strange silence fills the jeep. Just then, we spot a plume of smoke in the distance. Shake again, a pack of aliens is approaching us. Just in time. I've been meaning to give these old bones of mine a little workout. Ooh.
これで終わり
Calibrated on all his fires, the aliens instantly flock toward the direction where the gunfire is more sparse. There, Garen and the rest of his expedition team members are having a hard fight. Come have a go if you're hard enough. Ah! Garen's shout becomes a cry of pain. His heavy armor provides him with a solid defense, but it makes him too slow to avoid attacks coming from all directions. Kingwa's voice comes in over our encrypted channel. Shigan, we largely cleared the site out. Should we go over to assess? No need to rush. Approach the combat area and wait for my signal. I watched Inspector Leo head toward Garen. After ensuring the tactical situation is under control, I take out my binoculars. Behind Garen, an alien is about to bash his brains out. Garen, get down! Inspector Leo raises his gun, and Garen instantly ducks. The bang which follows is lost in the clamor of battle, but the alien behind Garen crumbles to the ground. However, this is just a single insignificant moment in the battlefield, and more aliens pounce on them. Kayla, Sabrina, go back them up. Sure thing, I've been waiting for this. Even after putting down my binoculars, I can see Kayla dragging Sabrina over to help them. Why? Why did he need to do that? From the driver's seat, Rosa smiles. As lively as ever, Kayla, I mean... Yes, she's very good at managing the mood. The battle soon ends, and the others return to the jeep. Garen and Inspector collapses into their seats to regain their strength. Everyone all right? Some of our boys on the jeep over there are hurt. Nothing major though. It's no big deal. It was a little close back there, but we're vets of the Yellow Zone, so it's not like we haven't seen this shit before. Back when we first came to the farm, it was still a heap of rubble, and there were aliens running around inside its perimeter. Garen was first at the head of the pack whenever there was an attack. So remember those days, Garen? How could I possibly forget? We couldn't find anything to take cover, so we had to pitch our tents inside one of those condemned buildings. I think it was around the same time as now, yeah. You had to sleep with one eye open, and one night I woke up to an alien about to bite my fucking nose off. Man, that's a shitty experience. Oh yes, it was cold that night. I thought we were done for. We used up all our ammo and nearly froze to death. Kingwa tenses up as she hears this. What happened then? How did you survive? Well, we somehow managed to fight them off. While we were picking up the pieces, we suddenly heard a broadcast on the radio. It was a festive song, and Garen began whistling along with it. Soon everyone joined in, and even though their singing was terrible. I still remember the warmth of the sun that day. It was a good start to the day. I still remember passing a green zone convoy asking if we were setting off fireworks last night. Yeah, we were shooting out fucking RPGs all night long. How's that for fireworks? Jesus Christ, the guys in the green zone. What the fuck? They go back and forth reminiscing about the past. The mood in the air is the most relaxed it's been so far. You shot that alien out my face back then, didn't you? Like just now? Man, I would have been dead if it wasn't for you. That alien had a whistle on it. I cleaned it and gave it to you as a memento. Still remember it? Of course, I've been holding onto it all this time. At this point, Garen falls silent and says no more. The inspector looks calmly at Garen. So, working together was worked well, right? After that, we built the farm into what it is today. I believe that focusing on the rules and helping each other meant that farm wouldn't fall apart after a few years, like most bounty hunter crews. You know how it is. We humans are tiny specks. It's only by banding together we have a chance against the storm of light. Kinowa nods vigorously, about to chime in with approval. I tug on her and interrupt her from doing so. Well, it's almost time for the festive trade fair. Our collapsed pieces were stolen, and we can't buy the supplies we need. The farm's facing an invisible storm of its own. We built this farm together, and I want to keep it standing until the very end. Garen, will you help me like you did back then? Garen looks down, and then he laughs. You're as stubborn as ever. The inspector turns away with a look of disappointment in his face, looking at the road ahead. Just then, a text message alert breaks the silence. Gentlemen, Aminda is here. We're almost at the designated meeting point. Man, they had the whole build up for that shit, man. You can straight up tell that he's straight up letting him know. I know. They're really building that up. James, the earlier part is too slow though. The earlier parts are so slow. But I get what they were doing. The setup was, they had too much setup, man. They took so much time for the setup. There are two people in the vehicle shelter. They're leaning against a truck in the shelter, waiting for us. We dismount to show our respect and trust. That said, despite being several hundred meters away, one of them is already jumping and hopping around. Shiki-kan. Over here. Beverly's here. Beverly happily runs up to us. Don't worry, Shiki-kan. Beverly knows today's mission. Beverly will put on a good show. Mr. Pizza? Is something wrong? Colfine quickly fiddles with Beverly's Mr. Pizarro's backpack. I don't know why he says the full name, M. Pizarro's. Mr. Pizarro's. Taking advantage of Beverly's distraction to flash the others a placating smile. Sorry, she's new. I'm Aminda, and it's nice to meet new clients. Kinowa strides mightily to control her laughter and looks away, not daring to look further. Serena smiles too, only Rosa remains calm. Shigean has given me a rough summary of the situation. I brought what you want. The payment will be in installments. The details are all in the contract. Since time is tight, shall we set off now and bring the goods back to the settlement right away? Hang on, I want to check the merch. Open the cargo bay and let us have a look at it. As he says this, Garen brings his armed expeditioners over to the truck. Certainly. Colfin calmly opens the cargo bay. The expedition members move crates after crate of cargo out and lay them in the neat rows on the ground before inspecting them. As they move toward the crates deeper within, Colfin moves to stop them. We're deep in the middle of the yellow zone, right? Surely bringing them all out would be a little dangerous. We ran into the Jaegers. Well, my humble enterprise wouldn't be able to take losses if you couldn't move them all back in time. Garen, we're getting the goods first and paying them later. We can inventory the cargo when we get back. No need to worry about them pulling tricks. Yup, that's right. Anything could happen out here, so it's best get it back to safety first. Garen, just check a few of them. We should prepare to head back this soon. The expeditioners do not stop opening the crates and ignoring the inspector's words. My pulse quickens. These resource crates are placeholders borrowed from the Elmo. Not all of them are filled with supplies. There's no telling when they'll open one that's filled with sand. Oh shit. Fine. Stop. And load it all back up. Let's go. We'll lead the way. The inspector turns away. Oh. He's making his move. A weapon chambers with an audible click from behind him. More plumes of dust rise up in the distance as more jeeps drive over, easily cutting us off from the truck. These vehicles have the emblems of the expedition team on them, but they weren't in the convoy just now. Leader Garen, what is the meaning of this? Is this what you chose in the end, Garen? Armed and armored men jump down from the jeeps and approach us. Their guns are aimed at the inspector and me. The dolls immediately form a screen in front of us. Broker, this is farm business. Stay out of it. You'll get the money you were promised and an extra 10% as a gratuity. Sure, will be good. Kofi smiles and backs up with her hand behind her back, but I sense she's awaiting my command. I give her the almost imperceptible nod by way of response. And you, she can. What was it? The emo? If you butt out now, we'll pay you off too. Unfortunately, in our line of work, we have these things called principles, you see. Plus, I have a reputation to think about, so unfortunately, I can't do that. I mock bow in apology, but stand my ground. Karen snorts. There are far more expedition members now than before. Clearly, this has given him a huge boost in confidence. Not leaving. Then you're asking to die. Before that, can I ask why you're doing this? On account of the fact that we used to be friends. Shit. You don't know? I figure I can give you a freebie before you die. I took the collapse pieces. I wanted to screw your little festive fair over. And I wanted those losers you took pity on to kick you out, along with all those useless bums you hired. You just run the farm into the ground with those losers dragging you down. We in the expedition team do the most and risk the most. I should have been the inspector in the first place. Garen gets more and more worked up as he speaks, as though he's pouring out years of frustration at once. Do you know how many of my boys died out there? Do you even recognize their faces? Have you ever seen them bleed, get their limbs torn off, or the crystals growing through their bodies? They die for the supplies we brought back. Why should we share it with those useless bums back in the farm? Those vendors and scavengers are all equally useless. This is the yellow zone. If we can find it, you think we can't sell it? And your guards are just as useless. If it wasn't for the expedition team covering for them, what the fuck would they even be able to protect? But in the end, the supplies got around to everyone anyway. Oh man, I've heard this story so many times, man. Garen waves his gun around wildly as he vents, but he never once pointed it at the inspector. It seems at the moment, getting all of this off his chest is more satisfying for him than just finishing us off. So, that's what you were upset about. But have you ever considered what would happen to the farm if things hadn't developed as you expected? What good would the title inspector be if the farm had fallen into internal upheavals? Would your expedition team would be able to escape all that untouched? So what if I then think about it? I still believe that anyone who's strong enough can survive anywhere anywhere he ends up. You ought to know just how much the farm is spending and how much we're taking in. We're pretty much swept all the nearby cash, and our expeditions are going further and further, about twice as long as before. Even if we can sustain our members at the moment, what about 3 years' time or 5? But forget about all those useless mouths you're taking in are popping out brats too. You can't think of it that way. There are others working the farm too. They're establishing logistics chains for you and the kids who will grow up to be productive members of the community. Please reconsider, Garen. Put your guns down. The farm still needs the expedition team. We can still make it work. Are you fucking blind? How many people do you have? How many people do I have? I'll make you a counteroffer. Take your hired guns and get lost. Never come back to the farm, and I'll spare your life. So there's no room for discussion then. You can run or die. Pick one. Oh, but don't worry. I'll tell them you died along the way. Everyone will remember you. Once I become the inspector, Darksteel Farm will become the most powerful settlement in the yellow zone under me. I'll keep the vendors who can make good pitches. As for the rest, they can screw off. It seems there's nothing else to say. I gave you the chance to leave, and you were the one who rejected it. Get them, boys. Garen signals the expedition team to attack. Some of them hesitate since the target is the inspector, but after seeing her colleagues moving, they raise their guns too. Alright then. At some point, the inspector pulled out his old whistle and blows on it. The shrill sound echoes through the air. It is answered by the sound of jeeps roaring through the distance from afar. These are reinforcements from guard squads. Whoa, is that a whistle-shaped transmitter? I've been meaning to modify my transmitters with retro styling like that. I bet it would look great on the Kushiki can. Turns out someone else already did it. Thanks for the random ass thing. A whistle, you say? Did it come up in that story just now? Oh, it's nothing. It's not anything important. Let's get ready for battle too. Rosa, Sabrina, and Kinghua aside. I signal to Goldfeet and Bepley too. Time for Bepley's exciting debut. I'm ready, Shigan. Goldfeet draws her gun, ready for battle. Now the expedition team's advantage is no more. Garen's eyes go wide, and he looks incredulously at the inspector. You knew? That's impossible! When did you find out? Or did... So, you never trusted me in the first place, did you? The inspector's eyes are filled with complex mix of emotions. 10 minutes ago, I was still thinking that if you're willing to go on this, I could continue pretending that nothing happened. I'm sorry, Garen. It's over for Expedition 33. Lock and load. Shigan, we're ready for battle. Your orders, please. Roger that. Everyone, mission start. I like how Kinghua has a deeper voice. Very deeper voice. Several guards have Garen tied up. The inspector walks up to him. Tell me, where the collapsed pieces are, Garen? You sounded confident enough to give the broker a 10% bonus, so I'm sure you're hidden them somewhere. At first, we thought Garen wouldn't tell us. After all, the collapsed pieces were a valuable bargaining chip enough to buy his life. However, he goes up that location so readily it catches everyone off guard. Got that? Data log, Shigan. I've recorded the coordinates too. It's inside Darksteel Farm, deep inside the ruins, it seems. Sure, I lost. I wasn't wrong, though. I just wasn't strong enough. I meant that. Leo, I'll be watching you for the afterlife. He snorts derisively. Well, leaving that aside, if you ask me, things won't end well for softies like you, Leo. Still, considering we used to be buddies, I hope you make it to the next year. Thank you, Garen. As the inspector looks at his former friend, his face is a mass of pity and regret. Then he chambers around. Garen leans forward, resting his head against the muzzle of the inspector's gun. Shigan, this is an internal matter for the farm. Would you mind? Oh, the dogs and I are going to scout the perimeter. Been a while since we went for a walk in the wasteland. I gather the dolls and lead them away from me. Behind us, the guards have Aaron's men at gunpoint. By the time we got on the jeep, a faint sounds of cracks and pops can be heard in the distance. Man, all of them cleaned up. Wait, why is there some explosions and missiles being sent? I thought they were just executing them. It sounds just like fireworks in the green zone, doesn't it? Just like that. Happy New Year, as they say. Yeah, out with the old and with the new. Leave all the bad stuff behind and welcome a brand new start. That's good. Right. I hope they see a new beginning. This game was attempt to cheer everyone up. Everyone is still seriously gloomy. Of course they would be. I pat them all on the shoulder. Just then Perry sends us a transmission. She again, I contacted Aminda as requested. We're together now. I think the sound of gunfire has died down. Can we approach? Yes. Escort Aminda to the real meeting point. Meetup point. The forest inspector will be there after we arrive. Roger that. Perry ends the transmission. Several days ago, after Kiha and I asked Aminda for help, the real Aminda responded to us. I arranged for Perry to have her wait nearby so she wouldn't get caught up in the fighting, while Coldfeet and Bepley impersonated her. The inspector and Aminda quickly gave the supplies a once-over, and on the way back, the inspector chose to ride with us. When we go back, Lieutenant Garen and his expedition were attacked by Variegators and died. I trust you all know what to do and don't need me to elaborate, right? Understood. Don't worry. Our lips are sealed. Can I ask you about something? You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. I saw some expedition members were kind of confused about what to do. They didn't seem too heavily involved with all this. Are they going to die gloriously too? There weren't a lot about these outsiders, so the guards are going to have a good long chat with the survivors. They're probably going to be traumatized after watching their teammates die, so they'll need some follow-up therapy for a while. Quote-unquote therapy. You know what's going to happen. Then, once they're fully recovered, they can go back to work. The inspector says all this with a straight face, as though expedition leader Garen had actually been killed in the Variegator attack. Inspector, there's a little splash on your neck. Sabrina touches his neck to indicate the spot in question. The inspector reaches and tries to wipe the stain, but only spreads the reddish brown color further, like a wound that will not heal. Oh man, damn man. They do. I like that. I squirt some water from my hydration pack, and finally the wound is wiped away. I notice the whistle-shaped transmitter hanging around his neck is not outside his shirt. Is that the whistle Garen gave you? The inspector looks down and reaches up to hold it. Yes. He doesn't elaborate, but he doesn't take it off either, only stuffs it back to inside his shirt. I didn't fight for a long time before today, but now I feel like a bounty hunter again. The road is rough and the engine roars. We shake and shudder inside the vehicle, not knowing what lies ahead of us. The leader of a bounty hunter crew ought to protect his people. A settlement's leader ought to protect his home. It's the same thing. They're more than qualified to be a leader. My words force a laugh from the inspector. Actually, I have a question I'd like to ask. It's just an idle question, so don't take it seriously. What are you planning to do after this trade fair? The expedition team was your primary source of income, right? The inspector is silent for a while. There are too many things I had to do. I don't know where to begin. The expedition team had lost its leader. We'll need to appoint a new one and recruit new members. Garen's concerns were valid. The farm needs to improve its productivity and find new resources. The path to survival will be difficult, but I believe that when the one door closes, another opens. Just like New Year. This was the Chinese New Year event, by the way, if you don't know. His tone grows more and more grim as he contemplates these matters. Now that I think about it, I should have seen this coming. The expedition team had been unhappy about how resources were allocated for a long time now. I told him that our current reward scheme favors the expedition team's contributions over all others. Plus, even if he had won, it wouldn't change the fact he'd need a support staff. Everyone in the settlement has their own task to complete. The inspector pauses, then looks at King Ha before continuing. Apart from the scavengers. Huh? Why did you suddenly... Yura told me that scavengers could effectively develop the ruins, and that they knew various agricultural techniques which would provide us with limitless source of food, but he was wrong. The residents don't see any value in keeping them. That was one of the favors that drove Garen to this rebellion, although I didn't expect him to actually do it. It's just... It isn't just the expedition team that he's unhappy with. If we don't solve the problem with the scavengers, the other residents won't be able to tolerate them either. Do you regret taking them in? The inspector thinks and he shakes his head. Darksteel Farm is their home, and the people in the yellow zone have all had times when they were adrift and lost, myself included. Nobody wants to lose their home a second time. I'll do my best to buy them some time, but I also need to take the well-being of all the residents into consideration too, so in the end they'll have to rely on themselves. After the inspector says this, we all fall silent for a while. Well, if it's just about food, I might have a solution there, or rather, perhaps pretty sure I have a solution. We all look at Kiha. I wanted to mention this earlier, but we had all this stuff going on, so I never had the chance to tell Yura. Anyway, I saw Sola hazelnuts while we were exploring the ruins. What's that? It's a poisonous plant Yura was talking about. Actually grows a fruit. You need to crack them open and process them, but in short, they're edible. I spent a long time in the yellow zone running around and studying all new life forms in the yellow zone can and can't be eaten, so I think you can trust me on this. Ah, I can vouch for that. Kiha is a yellow zone master chef now. The fact that they're everywhere in the ruins means raising them is pretty simple, even if you need some time to grow them. Just harvesting what's in the ruins should be able to tide you over a year and a half or so. Also, they're really filling too. In short, I think the scavengers will be able to feed themselves. It would be great if they could cultivate them. Relax, Inspector. I'm sure the scavengers can do it. The truth is, I disagree with what Leader Garen had said before. Kihwa hesitates, but she ultimately decides to continue with the topic. Even if things are tough now, based on what I've seen people in the Yellow Zone these few years, I believe humans will continue to survive and the world will continue to get better. Someday, everyone will be able to eat their fill and wear a full set of comfortable clothes that fit well and do the work they like. Of course, the requirement for that is that people don't give up. No matter what choices they make, whether they accept or reject something, they have to keep going. As for me, I'll keep doing what I can, which is to make sure everyone gets something to eat. Mr. Inspector, you aren't a weak man. You'll live a good long time. And maybe when your hair turns gray and white, you'll see a kind of gentle world like we've never seen before. For once, Kinghua is absolutely serious and solemn. Everyone is really stunned into silence until Sabrina giggles. Bravissimo. That's exactly the kind of thing you'd say, Kinghua. What do you mean by that? Of course I'd say what I would say. The dolls begin squabbling as the Jeep continues forward. And from the corner of my eye, I can see the inspector smiling too. Alright, finally close out this. We find the glass pieces at the location Garen gave us, and the festival takes place as planned. Unlike the previous year, this year's ceremony included a memorial service for the fallen members of the expedition team. So much for Expedition 33, huh? After the solemn event, the distribution of annual supplies take place. The settlement erupts to wild revelry. Yura, your boxes look really heavy. Need help carrying them? It's alright. We scavengers didn't have that many contribution points, so we only managed to collect a few boxes. I can handle 3 more loads like this by myself. It's not like you have to push yourself so hard. Commander, can you understand the joy I'm feeling right now? with that kind of expression in his face. I'm carrying our supplies. The more I have, the heavier they are. So the extra weight is actually a sense of security, or tiredness that comes from happiness. At Yura's insistence, all we can do is watch him return with his hands full, without lifting a finger to help. By the time we return to the scavenger's camp, Kinghua had just finished her tutorial on how to cook and prepare the soulless hazelnuts, and we can hear her bright, cheery voice through the plaster of the taps. Once again, I emphasize, you absolutely have to make sure you cook it thoroughly. If it's not properly cooked, you mustn't eat it. Rosa has taken Sabrina to go shopping, which leaves me with nothing to do but watch the scavengers as they begin cultivating their test plot. Shortly afterwards, I hear footsteps from behind Kinghua as Kinghua walks up to me. Done with the lesson? Yup, my students are doing self-study now. I hope that we don't get any food poisoning cases tonight. Kinghua moves to my side. The scavengers are laboring on their various tasks, and for the moment, so nobody notices us. In the past, I let that green zone farm because I saw a lot of cases where people and places fell apart. When I delivered fancy and expensive ingredients to the green zone restaurants, I watched people throw away leftovers without a second thought. But when I did deliveries in the yellow zone, every moment and every place I visited had people plagued by hunger, pain, and fear. I could have changed the restaurants in the green zone, but there's a lot I can do in the yellow zone. Kingwa's voice is quieter and gentler than usual. Truth is, I wasn't always good at cooking, but I spent the past few years focusing on food, looking for hidden gems among ingredients and figuring out how to prepare them. Slowly, my cooking skills improved. Food, it seems to be a magical power that can ease pain. People would sigh in relief after eating the stuff I made. Perhaps feeling hungry is something like the hope to survive, don't you think? You've grown a lot in your search for cooking skill. You've done well during this incident. Really? Kingwa looks at me, her eyes shining like stars. I'm glad you approve, Shikigan. You know, I haven't thanked you for helping me with this whole thing, Shikigan. You don't need to. That was an interesting experience for me. What do you mean by that? Of course I had to thank you. Well, it started out just fulfilling a request from my old boss. Halfway through, it turned into carrying out the mission that I assigned myself. Whether it's the scavengers here or the residents in the settlement, I want to spare them all the pain of hunger and give them the courage they need to live on. Do you think I managed to do that, Shikigan? Well, the look on your face tells me you're pretty proud of what you've done. Still, since you want me to praise you, I'll praise you again. Ha 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 ha! Thanks, Shikigan. Satisfied, King decides to change the topic. Now that you mention it, our reunion turned out completely different from what I originally planned. I was going to sneak aboard the Elmo with a whole bunch of awesome ingredients and brand new skills, then announce myself with a full-on banquet. How did I end up making such a sloppy entrance anyway? Can we do it again, so you can? You know, pretend you never saw me. Give me a chance to sneak aboard the Elmo. The reunion is good enough. Don't worry about it. True. Sure, it was sloppy, but that was just because of the circumstances. Our reunion was everything I wanted. I'm glad to be back by your side again. I laughed and pat Kingha on the back. A scavenger's voice comes from the tents calling for Kingha. Miss Kingha, where are you, miss? Can you show us a few more dishes, please? I'm coming. Kingha bids me farewell before rushing toward the tents. Oh, wait, Kingha. I just remembered that Mei-Ling, she's our machinist aboard Elmo, said the recipe for Jiaozi filling a while back. Seems she wants some. Can you do anything with it? Man, I want Jiaozi, man. No problem. Jiaozi is part of my specialty. Just leave it to me. Jiaozi. I don't know how to pronounce that shit. I'm making shit up. I'm just guessing how to pronounce it. At the foot of the highlands, another person approaches me. It's the inspector. This is the first time I've seen the scavenger camp so lively. We meet again, Shikigan. The inspector looks around and greets me breezily. You're us by the tents. No, I'm here for you. The inspector takes an envelope from his pocket. This special entry permit is for you, an additional gift, above and beyond what was promised in the contract, for the sake of our continued friendship. I look at the permit, which bears the inspector's personal signature. I suddenly recall all the crap we went through and being chased by the checkpoint guards because of this, giving me an urge to chuckle. Oh, on behalf of the farm's residents and myself, of course, I would like to thank you for the help you gave to Darksteel Farm. Even if I can't publicly declare it, this permit will serve as a symbol that the Elmo will always be a friend of the farm. You're welcome. Now that I've delivered my gift, I'll be heading back. Why not stay for dinner? King was cooking up a storm. I had to take care of things in the admin center. We'll share a drink next time. The inspector waves to us and goes back to the way he came. Deacon, we're back. Rosa brought tons of cute little trinkets. And me too. I stocked up on cheese. Sabrina, to bring it up. She was trying to hide those little trinkets, if you know what I mean. Why hide it? Today's a day of celebration. It's okay to go over budget if it's once in a while. Why do you have so much food? Miss Dahlia forced us to take it. She said it was thanks for saving her life. She spent a lot of contribution points on them, but apparently the inspector transferred some of his from his personal account. Ah, so it's a gift. That's good to hear. Send it all to Kiha. We'll have extra dishes tonight. Everything comes smoked from cook fires curls into the sky. In the distance, the trade fair and the settlement glow brightly in the twilight. Around us, the tents are suffused by a warm radiance. I call Meili and all the dolls who are occupied at the moment to the campsite so they can enjoy the evening with us. Hot, 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 coming true. Make way, make way. Oh, that's kind of cute. They really made Bepley look so cuter. And then second canonical wife of Colvine is just like, you know. Anyway. Where did all the Jalzi go? Say me some, come on. Kinwa's voice fills the air as she strides with big plates of food in hand. Around her, the scavengers exchange seasonal greetings as they celebrate surviving another year. This is New Year, by the way. This is New Year. This is the Chinese New Year event. But somehow they decide to do it in July. I don't know why. She can. Sometimes I feel like the fire in the stove is a little ember of hope because whenever there's smoke from a cooking fire, there's hope in the future. After thinking for a bit, I nod in agreement. No matter how hard the previous year might have been, people's hearts are filled with joy in the moment. When a plate of piping hot food is laid on the table, and their shared enjoyment of the dishes brings them closer together. She can. Have a good time. The coming year is going to be a good one, right? I'm sure it will. I'm finally done with the story. I'll just do everything on my own time. And as usual, Gunsmoke will start tomorrow. I will upload again. I will upload some... It's gonna be the same boss, so it's nothing too difficult. Especially now that we have new guys in. One of them is a whale. Can borrow, so 6-8, 666 should be easy. I say that, but famous last words. Okay, I might fuck up again. I don't know. I'm gonna reset the. I'm going to reset it if I have to. I need gold. I've been trying to min-max their equipment. All right, how about let's check the weapon attachments. Boss rush. What is this? What do you mean boss rush? Wait, what is this? Take part in the total boss fights. So I just beat them again? Okay. I mean, I could do that, but like, I'm not in a hurry to do that. So far, I don't feel like turning her into R6, like, especially considering the current CN stuff. It's just like, you know, you don't have to worry about too much about it. Just the hell known as oh well, whatever. I'll figure this out. Anyway, that's it for Girls Frontline 2. I might, big might, go back online later to do Uma Musume. I haven't spent any of my daily borrows yet, so I'm gonna do that because I need to work on my Teen Trials team. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys on the next stream.